I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we have. Oh, gotta say that. It's a good thing I have people that know what's going on. Okay, Whitehall Township has an obligation to affirmatively further fair housing to review all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. This includes taking meaningful actions that overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to opportunity based on protected characteristics. The township in its land use decisions does not discriminate against persons based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status, and reviews all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. Public comments made on the basis of bias and stereotype concerning people within these protected classes will not be taken into consideration by the township in its deliberations. And first thing we have is a motion to approve the minutes from our September 8th meeting. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, can you poll the board?
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Atias, yes. President Sloniker.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, next thing we have is courtesy of the floor. You have no more than 3 minutes per person on things that are not on the agenda. When the agenda comes up, you can just go ahead and talk or whatever you want to do then. Okay,
First up is Miss Joni Tedesco.
And one of the things that people didn't write on this time is the reason that they're getting up. And if you could please in the future with why you signed in, and you don't have to do it now, I'm just saying, but it's good to know, that's all.
Well, I guess y'all find out when we speak,
Well, no, we'll
right?
find out now, but I mean,
Just
you know,
saying.
but, okay.
Just saying. Joni Tedesco, 424 4th Street, Whitehall. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to the Public Works Department for the great job they did in milling and paving our back alley that was neglected for decades, except to fill in the potholes that never really lasted. So they not only did our back alley, but they did 5th Street down in Fullerton as well, and they did a really good job. And I told Joe. So, you know, kudos to them. Next, I have a question about vehicles parked on a street for weeks that have not been attended to or moved. No activity whatsoever. I know I've spoken with Mayor Marks, a police officer, and a lieutenant with Whitehall PD, and nothing can be done about it because everything is intact with the vehicle as far as no damage, current inspection is okay, it's parked the correct way, and it hasn't been reported stolen. I have been told that there are numerous vehicles in Whitehall Township that have been sitting like this and nothing is done about it, nor can anything be done about it. And my question is, why? I personally feel there should be an ordinance enacted, if there is none already, such as a 72-hour sitting idle with no movement. This particular vehicle in question, allegedly, from what I've been told, is registered to a party that resides in Allentown. So I don't know if anybody can answer that question for me now. I know I've spoken with Mayor Marks, which I stated, but I think if there is no ordinance already enacted, that there should be one to be enacted pursuant to this type of situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, next is Tony Jezik.
Does this work?
I don't know. Tap it.
Yeah, it's,
Tony Jezik, 3273 Water Street. I'm not here to bitch like normally I'm here for. I'm here to say thank you, and I really appreciate what has been done down on our street. I lived in Camden, Hamilton Street, 3rd and Linden, the Acres, and now I live on Water Street. And I was never safe anywhere where I lived for different reasons. And Water Street was pretty dangerous. I'm 58, and this is the first time that I feel safe in where I live. And I just want to say thank you. Over the years, we looked at a lot of different things. You know them all, and I really don't think that any one of them would have worked. A one-way, people are going to go faster because there's no oncoming traffic. They don't got to worry. Speed bumps, legally, I am very happy that when I heard there was a potential petition, we all were ready to jump at that. I'm very thankful. I know a lot of people are pissed off at it, and I feel bad for them, but I, for one, am very happy, and I know all my neighbors are. I just wanted to come and say thank you, and I hope you're feeling a little better.
Oh, I am.
I didn't know you were in an accident.
It was minor. I was only, out for a day.
Yeah, okay. I saw where the motor was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, if you saw that, then it looks, I guess, worse than maybe what I felt.
Well, at least you're all right.
It's okay. Thank you, though.
But I really do want to thank everybody that was part of that. I don't know what will happen in the future, but it's really nice to be safe where you live. I've never experienced that. And I was in the military, and that wasn't safe.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next.
Okay, next is Rick, can't really make out the last name, Rick R.
Yeah, hi. Rick Regal, 3237 Water Street. And again, I just want to reiterate what he said, and we were happy that there was even some sort of petition that was able to be passed around because we were all happy to sign it. And we've been after something to be done for decades, since back in the 80s. And if you did make it one way, I've been passed on that street, so they're just going to pass one way going just as fast. That wouldn't have been a solution either, but I just wanted to say thank you, and glad to see you are up and running too. We all are.
Thank you again.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next.
Next is Lori Ann Fainal.
Lori Ann Fanel, 3107 North 3rd Street. I just want to stand before you that I support Mayor Joe Marks 100% in closing Water Street. He deserves this recognition. Everybody has been, for decades, ignored it. He's the first one that has actually done something in the decades of people from Darktown coming here trying to preserve human life. First time in decades. And I could tell you, my son got to know Mr. Tomsix personally. I didn't. He used to tell my son military stories, and I could tell you my son misses him very much. And he's like, Mom, I miss him. And Mayor Marks did the right thing. And when I see commissioners bickering back and forth, it should stay open, it should be speed humps, there's certain things that Frank and Peter Terry need to do their surveying to make sure everything is done right in the correct way and properly. And I just want to say I support him, and I hope people can appreciate him for what he did, keeping Darktown residents safe. And when kids go down to the river, they're even safe when they go down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Jay Patzell. I don't know if I said that correctly, I apologize.
Jay Patel, 3239 Water Street, Whitehall, PA. Mayor Marks, I would like to thank you and your staff and everyone involved for putting the gate up in our street and making our street safer. Now I feel like I can at least get to my car and go to where I need to go safely. On behalf of my wife and I, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, I have a Renee, is it Renee Broski? Renata Broski?
Yes. Renata Broski, 3224 Water Street. Another thank you. We have, as has been said by Lori, we have faced indifference, ignorance, and even incompetence from previous administrations. We are so grateful for the action that Mayor Marks has taken and the board. It's not only speeding vehicles that presented the hazard. Naturally, there are people who say, oh, these people want their own private street. I'd like to have my own private street too. It's not just the speeding. The properties on the east side along the river, there's no on-street parking, so we all have off-street parking. Also, there's off-street parking for the residents like Jay and Diane who live on the west side of the street, and that's on the east side of a lot. And we cannot pull in head first there, because to back out onto Water Street with speeding two-way traffic was dangerous, very dangerous. So we always had to back into our driveways. And on a narrow roadway, when you need to back in, you're obstructing the flow of traffic. And there are very hostile and aggressive drivers who resent having to wait. And I know it's happened also to my neighbors, they've mentioned it, but we have had people shout at us, curse at us, throw pennies at our windshields. And shortly before the road was closed, I had another encounter in backing into my driveway. A big pickup truck stopped right in front of me, gunned his engine over and over as though I were supposed to get out of the way. So the hostility and bad behavior is what has asked for action to be taken. If all drivers were courteous, we would never have needed any kind of action. But thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Who was shot at too? Don't forget that one. Shot at.
All right, the last name here is Diana Fleming.
Hi, Diana Fleming, 3277 Water Street. I say the same sentiments. I just want to say thank you very much for your efforts. Thank you for restricting through traffic on Water Street as a temporary solution. I don't know if it's going to be permanent, but at least temporary solution, and for considering, traffic studies or other efforts to find, the best solution for us. I also want to thank I don't know who coordinated with the Whitehall Copley School District Transportation Department in offering an alternative bus stop to children on Water Street. They reached out to me, and I really greatly appreciate that. I do think that other alternatives like speed humps should be considered. I'm sure that you are referring to the experts when you're considering all possible options, but I think that speed humps would definitely be an option if Water Street was ever considered to be reopened. I just want to say that social media can easily make you lose faith in society as a whole. Obviously, I've interacted with a lot of people via social media about this, and instead of understanding why this decision was necessary for the safety of both residents of Water Street and non-residents alike, they've minimized the death of a lifelong resident of Water Street because they have to go a few minutes out of their way. I just want to say that I just appreciate any and all efforts you've made so far. I do have one suggestion. I do think that some of the signage regarding the closing of one end to no longer make it a throughway needs to be corrected or updated. I do have a question. Do you know if the access point to the Ironton Rail Trail is supposed to be open to the public, the one that's on Water Street?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I think there needs to be clarification on that. It seems like a lot of people don't realize that that access point is still open to the public. So just So just a suggestion.
Okay, we'll look into that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to public hearing. Bill number 30-2025, a second hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 subdivision and land development, Article 10 impact regulations, Section 22-37 recreation fee, subsection D1 fair share contribution. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Warren.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Fox.
Any comments, questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Secretary, please pull the board.
Let me turn this
Oh,
off
until
first.
your time's up now. Oh, that, I'm saying. Any comments or questions from the public?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank you for closing the street as well. I mean,
Oh, sir, you can't just speak. You have to, you should have did it before, but we'll let you put your name and address and,
Jim Foose, 3244 Water Street. I'd like to thank you
yeah,
for...
could you hold off? We're in the middle of a vote and you have to wait till we're done with this.
Certainly, just let me know.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
All right, I believe it's Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia is a yes, and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Bill passes 6-0.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, Jim Foose, 3244 Water Street. Thank you, Mayor Marks, and everyone else who had a part of this. I know they spoke of like the tragedy of passing of Ed Tomsix from being hit by the car, and I think the other tragedy is basically an innocent man's kind of like going to jail for a vehicular homicide, because you know people drive how they're going to drive on any street, and what most people don't know is that as you probably know, that Water Street is basically more or less like it's a glorified alley in a lot of ways, because it's a very small street, and hopefully more lives will be saved, including, you know, the lives of the people who might possibly hit somebody with a car. And I think a lot of us feel that was a tragedy as well. But thank you very much for closing the street.
Thank you for your input. Okay, bill number 31-2025, an ordinance amending chapter 829 fees, section M-18.01 to provide for new and/or increased fees and/or penalties. Seems like something else should be there, shouldn't it? It seems like the sentence is incomplete.
It's just short.
It might be on the other one. Just a moment. Looking at last, just to make sure, because it doesn't seem like it should be.
No, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, that is it.
It doesn't have a period, or, again, I'm sorry, I went to Catholic school and we're told to do things right. It just seems like there should be more, but, you know,
No, that's it.
that's fine. If that's fine. Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the bill, or the ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Ginder, second.
Any comments or questions from the board? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia is a yes, Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Bill passes 6-0.
Bill number 33-2025, an ordinance establishing a municipal open space commission in the Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Warren.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And any comments or questions from the board?
I have one. On the second page, under D is in Delta. I know we added this in, all the members of the Open Space Committee shall be 18 years of age and must have resided in Whitehall Township for no less than 1 year. I'm wondering, I'm not an English major, but shouldn't that be residents of Whitehall Township for no less than 1 year? The only reason I'm questioning it is have resided in means, to me, somebody could have lived in Whitehall 2 years ago and now are applying for it and they don't live in Whitehall anymore, but they did reside in Whitehall.
So what if it's changed to all members of the committee shall be over 18 years of age and must have been residents of Whitehall Township for no less than 1 year?
Again, that's sort of addressing what he said, that they could have left. Yeah, moved to,
1 year prior to,
Like they are right now a resident of Whitehall Township when they apply, something in that order.
prior to the date they are applying.
I think the word current should be put in there and it would make more sense to me.
Well, except last week you had asked, Mr. Ginder, that we capture this
I know I asked it, and when I read it.
1 year concept, so.
And that's exactly what you did. As I read it, it just seems to me that it could be in the past tense too, that they were one-time residents of the township.
Yeah, you're correct, that's a good point.
So somehow we should get that worded that they are now, as they apply, current residents of the township for at least 1 year.
Must have.
I don't know.
Can't you just say must reside in Whitehall Township for no less than 1 year?
No, because
That still goes back to,
that's the point.
yeah.
That's the point.
That
We're
Mr.
making,
Ginder
we're trying to
is-
prove that, we're trying to make it a requirement that
Current
they are
is-
currently residents of
And
Whitehall
again,
Township.
I
for
think
at
that's
least
the
1
word
year.
current.
I agree with Tom. I think if you put the word
Hard to
current in
believe.
there.
So maybe if we add must be current residents of Whitehall Township and have resided, no, because then it could say.
That sounds fine to me. I don't know if anybody else does.
And must be a current resident.
I mean, if you had to pick one or the other, could it just be that they're currently a resident instead of, and maybe throwing out the 1 year? I don't know.
It's up to, it's all.
I don't want to, I know, Phil, that's something, and I agreed at the time, but maybe it's just more important that they're currently,
I'm fine with currently if
Yeah.
everybody else is.
We'll just go back to the language that said,
current.
I mean, I'm comfortable, this isn't changing. This is not a substantive change to the advertised ordinance. So,
Okay.
but just so it's clear, and for the minutes, it will read, all members of the Open Space Committee shall be over 18 years of age and be a current resident of Whitehall Township.
Phil, are you good with that?
For no less than 1 year. I'm fine with that, if
Okay.
everybody else is.
Yeah.
Did you have
That
to
make
no less
sense?
than 1 year?
You still want to know less than 1 year,
Yeah.
yeah? Yeah, okay.
To
A
me,
current
that's,
resident of-
that's what I think we're trying to achieve. That's-
Okay, so a current resident of Whitehall Township for no less,
To me, that sounds
no
better.
less than 1 year.
I'm fine with that. Everybody else is.
One question I did have, it does say, provide recommendations, it's an advisory board for acquisition, protection, conservation, and management of open space within the township. Should it also say divesting of open space? Why not?
No, because my understanding, this bill is specifically designed because we passed a law that we're collecting funds. And when we collect funds for open space, we had to have a board. This board should not have to give their approval or recommendations if we want to dissolve anything. It has to do with the money. Is that correct, Jack?
Could be either or.
Well, I want to know,
So the, sorry.
I should turn my mic on before, apologize. This ordinance was modeled after other municipalities that passed an open space tax and created an open space committee specifically to give recommendations regarding the tax. You all can add other things that you want the committee to do. So it was definitely modeled after those other municipalities that have a committee that is really just to deal with how the tax is spent or what land is acquired. You're all certainly entitled to give the committee other responsibilities if that's something you want to do.
I think we took out the portion of the legislation that said would weigh in on development projects. I think that was your request. You did want them to weigh in on developments. But I think it's important, if we're gonna divest township-owned land for a buck, I think this would be one more piece of information that would weigh into it. I think it's important. The voters spoke loud and clear when they passed an open space referendum. They wanted to curb certain types of development. So I think we should honor the voter intent, and it also includes divesting township land.
Well, first of all, the voters didn't say we want to curb certain type of development. The voters said they want to have open space. They didn't say curb development. That's the first thing. Second thing is that we do have the EAC that does their section, and then we have the Planning Commission does their recommendation. This was, if we didn't collect any funds, we would not need this bill at all. Because we're collecting the funds, we had to establish this board, and that board relates to specifically the money that comes in and how it's being used. I personally do not want to see added to this, that the board would have input if we want to divest something, because if that's the case, and we're working on something we want to divest, and the commissioners and the mayor feel as something that's necessary to be divested, it would require us to go to that group and get their opinion. I don't want to muddy the waters. I want to keep that if we decide to divest, the people who would be making those decisions would be most likely have more knowledge of what's going on and more input without having to go to another board to get their opinion. So I would suggest that we do not add that.
I'm gonna try to play peacemaker here.
Pardon me?
I'm gonna try to play peacemaker here. If this commission wanted to or chose to in a situation where the township was looking to divest, or, if this scenario would come up, could this commission still come to a board and speak about it as a commission? I'm asking this table.
So, yes, two things. It could. Even if it's not an enumerated power, the board could take that recommendation
or not
for what it is. The other thing is C5 allows the board at any time to ask the committee for its advice. But, that's not what Mr. Warren is asking. He's asking for it to be, an enumerated power rather than.
Understood.
So, but to answer your question, yes, they could.
Okay.
So I'll expand upon the reason why I don't want to do what you're talking about. So let's just suppose that we would want to get rid of a property, and that group would come up and say no, and they have that power, and it's a recommending board only. And let's suppose it would be a lawsuit that comes out of it. It gives one more bit of teeth that said they were recommending. And they may, again, just think about what could or could not happen. I agree what's here, but I don't think they should have the power to recommend or give any type of opinion on that. Planning Commission, that's another story. They're a little bit more involved in the process, but that is not how I feel that should be done with this particular board.
I don't disagree. I'm just.
No, you're trying, you get it, Bill.
Yeah,
I get it.
There's interest in divesting township property. I mean, there's a possibility it could happen. And I just think it needs to be a very, very public process, not show up on our doorstep and 2 weeks later we're voting on it. It will be very, very, very public. And I think divesting land goes against the grain of the open space referendum. Because there's open space in all parts of the township. One of the complaints was that, well, maybe it's not open space throughout the township. So I see it as a piece of information.
So what's your definition of open space?
Well, to me, it's any undeveloped township land,
And that's exactly why I don't want to do that.
because we've rezoned land over the years. Yeah.
We have a difference of opinion on this, but think about it. Let's just take Clear Channel for the sake of discussion, where we've been cutting the grass from umpteen years and it never gets used. If someone comes along and wants to buy it, we have no use for it, and it doesn't work, and it's an advantage to help us get something else done in the township.
You're not going back on green future funds. You're gonna have
I'm
yourself
not going back. I just don't feel we need another board with another opinion. That's it, and I'll leave it at that. And if the committee wants to turn around and change this, or the board wants to change it, I'd like to hear other commissioners if they're in agreement with you, or if they're in agreement with me, that's all.
I'll weigh in. I understand we need this with the open space that the residents decided that we wanted. But I don't want to keep laying layers and layers of government on top of things, because it just makes it harder to get things done. The more layers you add, this becomes what is known as a self-licking ice cream cone. Nothing could get done till everybody has input and stuff, and, you know, that's why people elect this Board of Commissioners, to make decisions and get things done. That's the whole reason you have 7 commissioners sitting up here. You know, so that, to me, there's just no sense adding more layers of government. Yeah, you have to charge them, what is their legal obligation to do, but there's no sense giving more oversight to all these boards and commissions. If you're gonna do that, I mean, why even have a Board of Commissioners at that point? And that's what I have to say about this.
That was good, self-licking ice cream. I've never heard that.
Well, that's right.
We have a lot of it. Took 8 months to get something done.
I mean, personally, I think the people should have a vote on it also, but I see both sides of where we don't want the government to get involved as much either. So I kind of agree with you guys.
Any comments or questions from the floor?
Lorianne Fanel, 3107 North Third Street. What was the number of people that were going to be on this committee? Was there a set number, Jack? What was it?
No less
Not
than
less than
3, no
3.
more than 7.
Yeah, 3 to 7.
So 3 set. My other question is that I wanted to be able to make sure, as taxpayers who are going to be currently residing that might be on this commission, that people are going to be able to represent like their area. Like, it's not going to be like 4 people from, say, Egypt and then 1 from, say, Hockey where I live. Like, is there going to be anything like that where it's like equally, or is it going to be like one area could be heavily favored over another? Just a quick question, that's all. If that's able to clarify that.
Lorianne, as it stands now, all we want is people to go ahead and apply. And how it will fall out is depending upon how they go through the interview and what they have to say and whatnot.
I understand. I was just looking for clarification if that was the case, like one area being favored over the other group of people coming in. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Okay, I have Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia is a yes, Commissioner Snyder,
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes?
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Bill passes 6-0.
Bill number 35-2025, an ordinance amending Chapter A29, fees, subsection M-6, to provide for new and/or increases fees and/or penalties. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for that. Ken Snyder.
Do I have a second?
Ginder, I'll second.
Any comments or questions from the board?
I do. So our fees have not been, we all know it hasn't been adjusted for many years, and so this is as close to what is current. We didn't put an escalation fee in this thing, so the boards that follow us kind of have a responsibility to make sure that it continues to go up over time.
Something else.
Huh?
I think you're on another thought.
I did it again, right? Same freaking thing.
The treasurer's office on charge card.
I told you I would mix this up tonight. I did, sorry.
I did too. I would have. I did. Any other questions, comments from the board?
This is straightforward, adding service fees to credit cards, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a user fee, it's not like we're making money, we're running to the bank, it's just what we get charged, we pass on to the consumer for the convenience.
Any comments or questions from the audience?
Could you please speak into your microphone?
I'll turn it on. Any comments or questions from the audience? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Snyder,
Now that I got my bearings, yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes?
Commissioner Tia is a yes, Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
and President Sloniker.
Aye.
That's 6-0 passes.
Bill number 36-2025, it's the first hearing, there'll be no comments or whatnot on it. An ordinance of Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, electing to amend its non-uniform pension plan administered by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System pursuant to Article 4 of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law, agreeing to be bound by all provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law as amended and as applicable to member municipalities. It is hereby ordained by Whitehall Township, Lehigh County. Bill number 3725 has been tabled. No comments or questions on that. Bill number 38-2025, an ordinance deferring the required installation of curbing for 170 feet and sidewalks for 43 feet along the Reliance Street frontage of 4157 Reliance Street, and both curbing and sidewalks for 163 feet along the Reliance frontage of the 4153 Reliance Street as required in Chapter 21, Section 21-16 of the codified ordinance of Whitehall Township. Do I have a motion?
Ginder, I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Fox.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Without Frank here,
Oh, I thought that was Frank over there.
are you familiar with the print that's in front of us, or? No? All right, thanks.
Yeah, I guess my question is it does include the corner lot, which is a grass lot, and it also includes the apartment complex next to it, or is it just specifically the corner?
The developer is here, if you want to.
We talked about this.
We did, yeah.
Bring the developer up.
So we talked about this during the workshop session. It had to do with the apartment and the walking and the way it was, correct? And the rock that was there, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
as far as I remember.
right.
Does the developer want to come up? I'm going to go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, I'm Mark Bradbury. I'm here representing my clients who acquired this lot. I don't know the exact date, probably at least getting close to a year ago. This lot has actually been in front of the board several years ago. Lehigh Engineering had brought it in with a completely different idea of how to handle the deferral of the sidewalk and the curb along Reliance. Working with Frank Clark very closely, the township obviously had some issues with that and denied the plan. I believe Keystone Engineering was requested to do some studies in the township where they would look at certain areas for curb and sidewalk installation and try to put a value on them to see, you know, if it was actually feasible and to what benefit it would provide for the community. At the meeting, at the Planning Commission meeting, Frank had brought up the number of $240,000 to remove the rock, build retaining walls, and install curb and sidewalk. What we did was we offered to put a sidewalk back on our private property and provide an easement to the township to get back to the apartment buildings, which is probably where you would have your highest concentration of young children. And that would provide them a means to walk out. They all have rear exits to walk out and to get to the intersection at Beach and Reliance. The Planning Commission looked at it and they felt that that was a very good idea. Nobody had ever proposed it before. And they realized the hardship and the conditions that are out there in Reliance. The other two lots that are below us, the houses are almost right out at the edge of the street, that the right-of-ways sort of zigzag back and forth around them, so there's no place to locate anything any further to the south. So we felt that this was the best alternative to try to provide some safety for the children that would travel back and forth. However, it is impossible to place it in the specified cross-section of what a local street would look like. It's impossible to do that with that large bank and rock outcrop.
So are you responsible for the apartment complex too?
The apartment complex, there won't be any installation onto their property. The people that own that, the Albrights, what we're doing is it's a non-conforming lot. They only have 7.53 feet behind the building. So what we're doing is we're going to make their rear yard 42.5 feet. And right now it's in a nice lawn condition. So they said that if they see a need for something someday, I guess there's little patios or whatever behind each one of these units, that they felt that it would be adequate for people to traverse over to the sidewalk from where they are.
I do appreciate you thinking outside the box and offering that solution. I think my intent back when I was on the board when we rejected this, were the potential of students residing in the apartments and that they would have access at least from the parking lot to a bus stop potentially on the corner up there on Beach Drive. So the deferment is for the section from where your plan ends to the apartment. You mean, you're not planning on putting a sidewalk all the way to the current property boundary that exists now?
No, there's from the rear of the apartment building to the parking lot,
I think it should go up to the apartment.
probably a 10-foot drop off. So we can't get sidewalk between the apartment building and the road to get to the parking lot. The only place we can get it to is to the rear yard.
We should never use the word "we can't" because it is possible, it might be price prohibitive, but there are machines that can take that stone away.
Well, I have to refer back to your ordinance. When you look at the ordinance for curb and sidewalk, obviously, we do meet the conditions to apply for the waiver, or we wouldn't have applied for the waiver. This area has no real pedestrian traffic. We are trying to meet at least a good portion of what the need for the sidewalk would be by putting it where it is. And again, I believe that by doing what we're doing, we're trying to help make the situation that currently exists a lot better.
So, just a moment. And when you're saying there's no pedestrian traffic, I live where I use that street a lot. And you must be surprised then at the number of people that use that to get around the street. And again, I understand where you're coming from. It's not like we're at the mall, but
Right.
there are several people, so.
I mean, if you're familiar with Reliance, unfortunately, the side that we're looking at, which would be the westerly side, is where you have the rock escarpment. If sidewalk were to be installed in Reliance, the opposite side of the road is flat for almost the entire length. However, we're not going to put sidewalk on the other side. That's really where, if there was a concern for pedestrian traffic, is where it should go.
Mark, can I ask
Is that just not true?
Can I ask you a couple questions? I'm looking at the plan here with Commissioner Gidner. Yeah, I'm having a bad night. Where I look at the plan and where the existing building is, you're moving the lot line, for the sake of discussion, towards Beach Street, correct?
Yes, 42 and a half
And
feet.
you're proposing to stop the sidewalk directly at the new property line, correct?
Correct.
Is there any reason why that sidewalk, I think is what the commissioners are questioning, could be extended to the original property line before you moved it? Is there an issue that would stop that?
We do not have, as the landowners, Mr. Palmieri, we have no objection to extending the sidewalk. Unfortunately, the Albrights, who own the apartment building, do not want to get involved with any cost associated with future repairs. And they made that very clear, that you can put it there, but whoever builds it has to maintain it. And we basically said, well,
That's not working.
that's not working.
My next question is, when I see the building itself, at our workshop, my understanding that you were going to put some type of walkway to the back of the building that would run the side and come out and connect to the sidewalk. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, Ken, I'm not
Were
following
you
you.
going to put a sidewalk in back of the apartment building?
No, currently, behind the apartment buildings, I don't know, I don't have a Google Earth photo, but where every door comes out the back, there are little patios that come
Right.
out there that people traverse back and forth across the back of the apartment building.
Okay. And Commissioner Warren said earlier, this was in front of us before. I was not on the board at that time. So they already own this parcel, is that correct? And you're just doing a lot line adjustment.
That's correct.
Are they purchasing the additional ground from either party, or are we just doing a lot line adjustment?
This is just a lot line adjustment. We are actually giving the Albrights the piece of ground at no cost. In other words, to make that lot more conforming where the apartments are, Lee Rackus and Frank had asked us to give additional property, since the lot was oversized, that the Palmieris have, to give them additional ground behind the apartment unit to make it a more conforming piece of property, as part of the lot line, what we were doing with the lot line adjustment.
So it's not conforming now, is that correct?
It's non-conform, yeah, you only have 7.5 feet off the back of the
Did
building.
you go to zoning and get all of your reliefs?
The apartment building lot
Is
is
non-conforming.
Non-conforming.
His client's lot
Is conforming.
Correct.
It's actually larger than it needs to be.
So what, for a solicitor, what bearing does the sidewalks on the apartment lot have anything to do with what we're talking about tonight?
Because what's happening here involves the apartment building lot, even though there's no curb and sidewalk there now, you would need to grant a deferral, or else they'd have to install it.
Did all the parties sign on this waiver from both the apartment and the lot?
Yes,
I mean, all the parties would be involved, correct?
yes.
Because this proposal includes both lots, they need to ask for a deferral for both lots.
I'm a little confused. I wasn't at the workshop, but I am now.
And Lot 2, the apartment building lot, is already non-conforming. What they're proposing to do is, I would say a positive. It makes it less non-conforming, because where now the property line at the back of the apartment building is only 7 feet from the back of the building, which is not, that's non-conforming, it's not a good thing, that's the way it's been. This plan will make it less it's still not going to conform, but it'll make it less non-conforming by moving that property line, I believe I heard Ms. Bradbury say, to 41 feet.
It'll be 42 and a half.
42.
So, okay, before anything was done, you had a meeting with township staff,
Correct.
and they suggested to move this property line by 41 feet, correct?
Well, they just suggested making
Well,
it
whatever
more
it was,
conforming and give
more
them some
conforming.
room for like a playground or where
But you
kids
weren't
could go.
required to do that.
We were not required to do
And then you could be here for a waiver for sidewalk all the way around and would not involve that property because you moved the property for the sake of the staff asking you to do so.
Asking us to do it, yes.
So why would we, if they're doing something that the staff requested, why would we make it more difficult for them to put sidewalk on that area when we're giving them more ground to make it less non-conforming?
They can always charge the apartment complex the price of the sidewalk for the land that they're giving for
They
free.
could but they also could keep it the way it was before the property line adjustment, and then come in and ask for a waiver of the sidewalk all the way around up into where the rock encroachments occur, and call it a day, and don't give you the ground to the apartment complex, and it'll just stand the way it was. Am I right in saying that?
I'm not sure I completely understood. They don't have to give the property to the neighbor,
No.
if that's your question. They don't have to. I wasn't involved in those meetings, but I have heard it. It came up at planning. I heard Frank Clark say it last week, that certainly he has, my understanding, he as engineer and Lee Rakis, you know, as the department head, believe it's better for the township if Lot 2 has this additional property so that it's less non-conforming. That's a good thing for the township to make that lot more conforming than it is now.
So if I'm asking you to help me out to make it more conforming, why do I want you to put more sidewalks in that would not normally be there anyway? We're making it more we're making it more difficult on him. He's trying to help us.
Public safety, kids getting to school. I don't want to see them have to drive down the driveway because there's no access once they get off. Well, I guess they could walk across the grass, but we're going back to where,
I know you weren't at the workshop, but everybody was fine with
no,
this.
but I was here when we voted on it the last time. So I'm very, very familiar with it, Mr. Snyder.
I understand. Okay.
So I don't know what's your thoughts. I understand how it's a bum thing for you, but if the apartment complex is getting land for free, I'd like to see that for the last 41 feet be at least completed so
But
that.
they didn't ask for it, right? They didn't ask for it.
Okay.
No, they did
We
not.
did.
All right.
We mean
You
the
did,
township.
correct, the township
All right.
asked for it.
Okay, I just want to make sure who asked for it.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
And curbing can't go in at all?
No.
And the reason, besides the supposed rock? Is there really rock there for curbing?
Correct.
No, is there really rock there? Do we know the rock is there, that it's I'm not gonna use the word impossible, but prohibitive to put curbing in?
It is prohibitive, and again, I go back,
Has a study been done that the rock is there? Have boreholes been done that the rock is there?
Keystone Engineering provided the study to the township when it was requested. Frank Clark made us privy to that and gave us the number of $240,000 to install the curb and sidewalk in that area, from beach down to the end of the
How
apartment.
long was that? How long ago was that?
The planning commission meeting we had
Okay.
a month and a half ago.
That's not a number taken from years back.
No, this was just recent.
Well, sure, everything's overgrowing the street.
Yeah.
That's why at least I want a curbing in there.
There is outcrop closer, there is a steep slope on the apartment complex. It
Yes.
tapers from Beach Street. Beach Street, it's overgrown, you can't even see what's below that. I don't know how an engineer can make an assessment that it's rock without.
Well, you can see the rock if you walk up into the brush, and there's also, I believe, where the sidewalk is proposed to go now, I believe there was an old concrete foundation that's on there. It was small, like for a shed, like a 10 by 10. And where you look at the bottom of that, you can also see that it's pretty much sitting on rock. Now, we didn't do borings to see if the rock goes down 20 feet, but it doesn't, even if there is, you're still looking at a 8 to 10 foot high concrete retaining wall, or some type of retaining wall would have to be placed in there in order to put the improvements in. And I believe that's what Keystone based their pricing on, was looking at what would have to be done to make that work.
Now, I'll go back to my question. I'm talking about curbing only along Reliance, not sidewalks. You're moving the sidewalks up on top.
Correct.
Now, curbing. Why can curbing not just curbing go
let me see.
down along the roadside.
Okay, so
This is a hill here.
the steep bank,
Now, they're putting the sidewalk up here on top of the hill.
They're putting them up on here and then coming
okay,
down.
so the steep bank comes down there.
Yeah, they're putting the sidewalks up here on the hill.
That is the rock, is that correct?
Well, they're saying it's rock all the way down, but
Okay, so from the curb, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet.
That's the apartment
that's the
complex.
So you'd
apartment.
still have to cut
steep.
about 5 feet into that embankment and then build a
That's the
retaining
embankment
wall to put the
up there.
sidewalk in.
That's from here to the street.
Yeah.
But
How
see,
comes
what
there's no outcrop to the corner?
But what you don't know, looking at that picture, you're looking at the edge of the street, and you're assuming that's the property line.
But you don't know that.
But you don't know that. The property line may be back 5 feet or 7 feet from the edge of the street. How far is the property line back from the existing street, Mark?
From the existing street back right now, we're 30 scale.
I mean, usually they're like 9, 10 feet or something like that.
They have a 10-foot
Correct.
easement here.
Let's see.
They have a 10-foot sidewalk
The edge of the
easement.
cartway, where it sits, to the property line is about 20 feet
From the edge of the street.
from the edge of the street.
So, the point I'm making is that we're looking up here at Google Earth and your Google Maps, we see the street and we see the crop of rock. And if you're looking next to the street, you would actually putting the curb in the wrong location, because that's not your property. The property line itself, as Frank explained to us last time, it goes directly through that rock, crop of rock, and that's why he didn't think sidewalk or curb should be put in at that particular point. And he was in agreement, and it was discussed at the planning commission, and they felt the same thing. So that's what was told us at the workshop. So my position doesn't change on that, because the rock is there. And the other thing I think is important is that they could build on this lot and do exactly what they want and not give the apartment any ground. Is that correct?
Yes,
So then you're doing something to help, and I understand what, you're helping out the apartment guy, which is great, but he's saying, look, that's good, but I don't have to put sidewalk in now anyway, so I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't need the expense and the trouble. So the other option is you could roll up his tent, go back, don't move the property line, and call it a day. Is that correct?
correct.
And then you'd be back and asking for a waiver for the same crop of rock that's on your property. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we could call in a sidewalk today, tomorrow, a week from now. We can call in to say you have to install sidewalks, whether there's the development ongoing or not.
I don't 100% agree with that. I mean, I looked at the ordinance the way it was written, and in order to file for the waiver, you had to meet the criteria of certain things like hardships and different criteria that, I know you don't care about if it's 250,000 or 240,000 or whatever it is, but when I looked at the whole scenario of what was going on there and how we could make it better, and assuming that the bulk of any of the children that are going to be coming there from the apartment building, we came in and talked to staff and said, we have an idea. This lot has been sitting here for years. It's been sold twice, I guess, already. We just want to try and make this work to get people back to the apartment building. We offered the extra ground, decided to put a sidewalk easement in, and thought we could come in front of this board with something that made sense. So that, I mean, that's where we are.
So my feeling is that everything that they've done makes sense from my side of the table. And before we would put an extreme hardship on somebody, we should go to our own house and put sidewalks in where they're supposed to be, where we own it, and haven't put sidewalks in for whatever reason, and take care of it. So I think it's very valid to grant a waiver, I got that right, Jack? Deferral, I didn't get it right, a deferral, and let time take care of it. Because if this would be a Whitehall Township-owned property, I guarantee you wouldn't spend $240,000 to put in 40 feet of sidewalk, and neither should they.
What's in question is the last 50 feet, I guess. getting the sidewalk to the apartment complex driveway. And that's, I understand you're not gaining financially from the effort. But is there any hooks that if he comes in and wants to do stuff on the backside of the apartment, at any time we can call in sidewalks on his portion of the land? If there is a need for.
As far as I know, everything is a deferral. There is no such thing as, oh, we'll just waive it.
Correct.
We went through hours and hours and hours of discussion. So at any time, we can go ahead and say, okay, for right now, another board comes on here next year, and they say, oh, no, we need sidewalks and curbs everywhere.
As far,
Then you have to do it. And again, it's
Yeah.
just, that's how.
as far as I know, that's a general rule through all of the municipalities.
And supposedly, money is not one of those things that's considered a hardship. I know where you're coming from, obviously, to some people it is. But the people who just bought this a year and a half ago, they should have known what they were buying when they bought it. And that's how it's been explained to me before.
Common sense needs to apply. I mean, let's be honest, common sense needs to apply.
Any other comments, questions?
I'd still like to see curb on Reliance Street, to be quite truthful with you. Now, I understand the sidewalks don't have to go down the side of the curb because they're saying there's rock, but I can't believe they can't get curbing in there.
Again, you're looking at at least a 5, maybe 6 foot high retaining wall to put the curb in. The road with, the edge of the pavement to meet the cartway specifications for that type of road would have to be, what do they say, 20 feet to the property line. So to get to the curb, yeah, you'd be cutting 10 feet into that bank and putting in a 5 or 6 foot high wall to put curb in.
So,
I guess, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Before you get
show me.
from our
There's curbing
our
up to
new
that pole,
Frank over there.
and then there's open
Can you
space here
tell
that's
me
pretty
why
flat to get
you
curbing
would
in.
need
Put
to
as much
put this
curbing in as you
retaining
can
wall
on Reliance,
in for
so we
just
get some of
putting
this
in
water
curbing?
pushed out.
I don't know.
Mark, would you mind looking at this for me, please?
Yeah, I'd like to bring the full-size plan up too, because I know it's hard sometimes to look at it on the screen.
We do have a
We
plan
have
in
a plan.
front of us.
Just clear something up for me so I understand. Both Commissioner Ginder and Warren are saying this. This is where the sidewalk ends now. Why can't it be extended down to where the red trees are?
Well, we could put it down to, we could put curb down to where it starts to, the incline really gets steep, maybe another, let me look exactly. I can tell a lot easier from my drawing. So, in theory,
Yeah, you're looking at this spot. Yeah.
So you would think the curb would extend from there down, how far could it go?
yeah,
Right.
we could probably go about 60 feet with curb before we hit the bank, but we couldn't put the sidewalk, we'd still have to put the sidewalk back.
We
on.
do eventually. I think
And
the
that
curb would hit
existing
the
curb
bank.
that turns down Reliance Street to the utility pole basically tells you where the lot line is already on the street, to the street. Or they wouldn't have put the arc in the curb there, down to the utility pole. So,
You want it to extend as far as feasible, based on the inspection?
I would like to see the curb go down as far as
Yeah.
it can, at least, to get some curb along Reliance Street on
I mean,
that side.
you can see that where it starts to curb there, like it really would go pretty far into that bank.
Yeah.
If it continues straight that way.
I would like to see the curb go down as far as it possibly can. I don't know how to word that as the curb's going in, the township engineer would watch that to make sure that, this is solid rock now here and here it stops.
But it's gonna be on
They would
another
be
man.
installing the curb then on the township side.
Can I ask another question from you, Mark?
Stay away from the embankment.
Did you transfer, the property has not been transferred over to the apartments yet, is that correct?
Because that would probably stop.
Okay, from the board's point of view, the current owner still owns the property, so you could ask him that he puts the sidewalk in, puts the curb in, extend it, and he doesn't have to go to the guy that's gonna get it because he has control over the property, correct?
That's true.
So then he could put it in and say, I'm gonna give you the property, and guess what? The curb comes with it, and that's just the way it is. Either you want it or you don't. And if he doesn't, then you got what you want, keep your land and do what you have to do, and go back and figure it out.
So if,
That we're not asking him to put curb on your property.
No.
I still own it, so I'm gonna put the curb in based on what you guys are requesting, and then at that point, I'm gonna transfer it with the curb already in.
The only thing I'm asking for is the curb around 4153 Reliance. That's the open lot where the residence is to be built. The back 4157, at that point, we'll deal with that in the future.
what's gonna happen to the stormwater when the curb ends and that embankment jumps out 6 feet into the pavement? Because, I mean, the stormwater's coming, the water's coming north to south. So if you get the curb down as far as you can to that embankment, then it's going to hit that embankment and push the water out along the edge of the cartway. You know what I mean? Because it's not gonna have
You're gonna run it into a wall.
Yeah,
It's gonna hit a wall, and it's gonna pond.
line that it has now. Right.
There's a way of dealing with that. They could tie the curb, if they're gonna stop where it hits rock, they could tie the curb back to the rock. They could put a bullnose on the end of the curb. There's a way to deal with that. I mean, it's done other places. It's done in front of my house. Not in front of my house, but up the street. Now, those are rolled curbs on Scheide's Road. They're not formed, it's a PennDOT road. That's what they did. But there's a way to deal with that water. And there's not a ton of water on Reliance. I'm very familiar with it. I drive Reliance Street every day. But there's curb up the street from there. And on Beach Street, is it Beach Street? On Beach Drive, there's inlet boxes and everything, so, you know, there's not an ocean of water coming down there. Yeah, there'll be some water down there, but at least with curb there, it'll control it a little more than it does now to get it further down, down to the turn on the south and into the farmland. Or not farmland, but that's more or less an uncut area down there that leads to a quarry hole. So at least it's some kind of improvement, and with the curb there, it would keep these bushes from being overgrown out into the street, because right now, people are walking up that street, coming off the rail trail, and they're walking up that street, and with the bushes and everything there, they're out in a third of the street,
Who owns the bushes?
this lot. You can see them on the picture.
Right away, that right away was dedicated to the township years ago. I mean, it should be maintained by the homeowners, but,
You know, the bushes are out there in the street at this point. You know, and I'm not saying, you know, that's the way it is, it's a rural area, and I understand all that, you know. The thing is, you know, let's try and clean it up a little bit now, and, you know, because it's gonna eventually get sidewalks somewhere down in there, as things change.
So could we agree on a compromise with the board that we would grant a deferral for all of the sidewalk that he's requesting, but not a deferral on the curbing? And the curbing would be extended down to the, I'm gonna call it the rock crop out, at a distance that would be considered to be acceptable between the township engineer for water runoff, keeping in mind that our township engineer sat here last week and said, this is crazy to do, we shouldn't be doing this, we should grant the waiver, or the deferral, deferral is what we should do. But rather than walk away and send this group away and say, no, the compromise is that they're spending less money, you're getting your curbing, and the apartment is getting something that's more conforming by getting more ground. I have my own opinion what we should do, but I'm just trying to get everybody, not that you walk out and the answer is, have a great day, the answer is no.
But the sidewalk is extending to the proposed new property line.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I am not comfortable with you passing a resolution that's, to me, it's not clear what you are deferring.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is either that you table this with the comments having been passed on and ask for there to be additional discussion and them to bring it back. The issue with that would be I have to think about this, whether it has to go back to planning commission, because it's supposed to always be recommended. This one, in this configuration, was recommended by the planning commission, and under your revised ordinance, the planning commission is supposed to make recommendations on deferrals. But I'm just not comfortable that anyone would really understand what it is that you're revising. So you either table it and ask them to bring something else back, or you vote on it as is.
So here's what we've done. Through changing the ordinance to deal with the waiver portion, we went back and said. Deferral, damn it. Deferral, that we take recommendations from our planning commission. Okay, we did that. Next thing is, we went to our engineer, and we got that. So now that it's falling the way it's supposed to fall, we're basically saying, we don't need the expert arrangement on that. And if that's the case, okay, and let's look at two properties that we own. We got a bunch of people doing haunted hoods, using the playground, no sidewalk, no parking lot the way it's supposed to be, no paving, because we own it, and we don't have to do that. Same thing over where Caboose is, same thing. We put in a parking lot, doesn't conform to our ordinances. We put in things, no sidewalk, no nothing over there, because it cost money. Now we got a situation where a private person came in, followed the rules, did everything necessary. Township comes along and said, would you work with us? Yes, we will. We did, and we're gonna sit down and say, oh, we're not gonna listen to anybody. Makes no sense to me. And I'll leave it at that.
You say you're giving this land, or this is just a subdivision? I guess it's. Yeah.
Is there a motion on the floor?
There is,
Is there a second?
there is some, yeah,
a second.
motion and a second.
So do you want to
I wish
do
Frank,
what,
I wish Frank was here to get his comments on
well,
it.
no, and that's what I'm saying. So do you want to do what attorney has to say, that we table this and come back later on? You'll find out what Frank would have to say and anything
The
else.
other,
I know you think of it as a done deal, Ken.
No, but he did give us his opinion last week, and it is in the planning commission. That's what I don't understand.
He wants further clarification on it.
Okay.
And that's how I'm seeing your question, am I right? And again,
I would like to hear what Frank has to say about stormwater there on Reliance Street. I would like to hear that comment yet.
I would also like to have,
And I apologize, I should have asked that question at the workshop, but I didn't.
a slam bar is a useful tool to see how deep rock is.
The what?
A slam bar.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to have a GeoPro go out there and do soundings, but, I mean, is
Stand
it
on the rock and
soil?
figure it out real quick,
Well, if I
too.
go, I'll go out there and I'm gonna look for rock too, but I mean, you know, when we say nothing's feasible, we passed up on sidewalks on MacArthur Road because it's not feasible. It's feasible with the right mindset, so.
so
At this point, I'm gonna ask to pull my motion back. Can I do that?
You're gonna withdraw your motion?
Yes.
You may. It hasn't been voted on.
and Commissioner Fox would like to withdraw it also.
Is there a motion to table it then? Is that,
I'm still reading.
okay.
I'm sorry.
What you have suggested is great. I hope we follow suit more often with something like that, where it's a give and take. My concern is students that would be coming from there trying to get to a bus stop. You go 9 miles to make that happen. And,
So I thank you for that. We're waiting. One of the commissioners is reading.
I'm just trying to give a little background.
And
I'm trying to find out if Frank addressed it in all the notes here about the sidewalk and things to that effect. And with all.
Unless you want to be. I just have one question I want to ask, right?
So the stuff that, the items that are here from the planning commission, final plan, and the Keystone Engineering, do you have the letter there from Keystone Engineering? Do you have that letter? Stormwater drainage, it's this one, I thought it was that one too, it's this one. The date is June 16th, 2025. And it goes on about paragraph, plan 16. Am I looking at the wrong one? Like, sure I am, again.
You're down on Sixth Street. This is,
Yes, I know.
3399. Because he really doesn't address it, stormwater.
Does your letter address anything in the stormwater on this thing from Keystone? There's so much freaking paperwork this time. Anything? No? Okay. All right. It doesn't address it, so the question has to be answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, both Bill and Liz have said that they're gonna go ahead and, redact their, motions. So, because of that, do I have a motion to table this so that we would have further discussion?
I'll make a motion to table it for further discussion with the township engineer.
The second.
Down at the end.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I also tabled.
What year was this?
This, she doesn't say, but this goes back probably about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, and they just stuck their finger in her face.
No, you don't need it.
I guess you do.
Oh, do you?
Back in. Tom?
No, Larissa's right there.
Oh, she's there?
Yeah.
When they, so when this was approved for subdivision approval, you're saying that they had to do it then, and they just didn't get the waiver and didn't do it? Okay, that's a different question.
I think so, so that's what I would.
Jack, Commissioner Ginder's bringing something up on the waiver expiration date, 90 days. And the last paragraph said,
It's at 4153. That's-
4153, that is the apartment complex, is that correct?
The apartment is 4157.
4157, okay.
Yeah, this is the open lot, 4153. 4153 is the open lot.
So when this was subdivided originally, apparently there was a subdivision that these gentlemen are familiar with several years back, is that correct?
I pulled all the old plans, so
So what I'm trying to find out, back then, they did not grant a referral back then when it was originally subdivided. That's what you're telling me, Phil, is that correct? Based on this thing?
There was no, the deferral was denied, right?
The deferral was denied.
The last time this plan came through 5 or 6 years ago, it was a similar idea,
Okay.
and the board denied the deferral, and the plan never went forward. So, and ultimately, the owner of what's labeled Lot 1 here, let the parcel go to tax sale.
Lot 1, which one is Lot 1?
The one at the corner.
The one in the corner. So if I follow the history, when the parcel was originally subdivided, there was an apartment and a vacant piece of ground that became.
Yeah, actually, no, this Lot 1, my understanding, and I might, my understanding is Lot 1 was part of the property to the west of here. The apartment building
Had nothing to
is
do
very old and had nothing
To do with
to
this.
do with this, had been there. That's why it's a non-conforming lot. It's a very old lot that was
Okay.
unrelated to the rest of this. Lot 1 was related to the subdivision west of here. I don't know if that's what you understand also, Mark, but that's what I was told.
From the research that I did, I went back to the 1998 tax map. In 1997, there was a subdivision that just took place along Reliance. And at that point in time, right-of-way was given all the way down to where the current apartment line was now. And no curb and sidewalk was required at that time.
A waiver was granted, is that what you said?
I assume so.
Okay.
Because it wasn't put in down here. And this was the plan that was denied. This was in 2018. Lehigh Engineering came back in, and they had a very similar plan, but they didn't add the sidewalk that we're offering. They just came in and said, look, we're gonna do this subdivision, and we're gonna give the apartment a piece, and I think at that time, that was an agreement of sale, because the apartment wanted to get it. The apartment people walked away. They said, look, the board denied us, this is never gonna happen, don't come back to us again. So when they denied that back in 2018, everybody thought this was a dead issue. Unfortunately, my clients, the lack of probably research, bought this lot thinking it was a sellable lot. Had it up for sale, somebody went to buy it, they came in, talked to Lee, Lee said, well, no, you have to go through the approval process, because the lot that's there currently was not accepted as a formal lot when Beach Drive was put in. It was just a residual piece of ground.
Did they buy this at tax sale?
No,
No, okay.
I don't know that the previous owner bought it at tax sale. I don't know the history of that. So, it's been very confusing all along. And when I came in with this idea that I had, Frank and Lee and the staff, we sat down and I said, hey, let's try to work something out to help these young couple out. Maybe what we can do is put the sidewalk on private property, get it back to the apartment complex, try to make them a little more conforming to an area for the kids, because when I saw it 7 feet out the back of the apartment building, those people are constantly over the net of the yard. You walk out your back door. So we looked at it and said, okay, we'll come up with some kind of compromise and work that out, make this a little more conforming, and go back in front of the board and see what happens. So when we presented it to the planning commission, Frank really did a good job. As the township engineer, he explained that to the planning commission about what was presented before, the problems with trying to install curb and sidewalk on Reliance Street, and that what we were doing was a really good effort to try to at least get some kind of sidewalk for the children that are coming out of the apartment building. And at that point in time, the planning commission agreed and gave us conditional preliminary and final approval with the knowledge that we had to come here and ask for the waiver, the deferral for the curb and sidewalk.
Do you have a contract between the present owners and the people in the apartment building that they've agreed to take the ground? A written contract?
That they've agreed to take the ground?
Transfer it, whatever you want to call it.
They signed, all we did was we went to them, they came in, signed the plan, agreeing that they would take it. There's no written agreement other than their signatures on the plan.
Is that valid? It's valid. Okay, thank you. That means that they are also responsible for the plan that comes through. So when they take their portion of the ground, in theory, they have to put the sidewalk in and not the present owner unless there's a different agreement. Is that correct?
if the transaction actually goes through, then they would be responsible. But this plan shows the sidewalk with the easement on the private property. It doesn't, I mean, it anticipates the deferral. I don't know for sure on this one. What I can say is, and I was pretty close, I thought I said 6 or 7 years ago, it was 7 years ago that it came through last time. The deferral was denied, and then nothing happened, because, you know, the property just sat until it went, until it was sold and, you know, is now back later.
We had the same problem in Fullerton with Riverside, where they want to give ground to make the easement going into Riverside on one of the streets down there. And the owner of that property says, I don't want to be guaranteed that I'm taking responsibility. You know which one I'm talking about, Jack? Okay, and we said, sure, no problem. We're okay with that. And we let it go right straight through because it helped Riverside. And we're sitting here with the same thing. And this is what blows my mind. When it was to that arrangement, it was, sure, we'll let it go because the owner came in and said, I'm not taking any responsibility. If you guys want to work it out, good. So we did it. Now we sit here in the same situation. Oh, we're going to change our mind. It doesn't make any sense to me. Either we're going to sit down and say, everybody puts damn sidewalk in and no matter what happens, or we use common sense. And I have a hard time sitting down saying, and we all know who the owners were in that two situations down there, and we accommodated them. Well, we don't know anybody here. We should accommodate this. This shouldn't have to go back and ask for a clarification on stormwater because it was explained by our township engineer, it was explained by everybody, and was recommended. And to me, I think it should do one of two things. We either vote it up or we vote it down. And then if he wants to come back and reapply with additional information, so be it. Because I don't think it's fair to send somebody back for 30 more days when nothing's gonna change.
Well, neither with what you just said would change it either, because it would just come up next thing, and all we're.
Well, maybe there's enough votes to approve the deferral. I don't know.
And maybe there is, I don't know either. However, it seems like right now, information is garnered by one of our commissioners up here, it appears maybe two, and that's all we're asking for. We're not asking, hey, you know, you gotta do this or that. If that would be the case, then we would have just, okay, just do whatever you want. But there was a reason that it was done here prior, before you were on the board, and I don't see where it's changed that
Well, the
much.
two that I described, I was on the board. So I have the right to make a motion to approve it,
Yes, you do.
then I will make a motion.
There's a motion, I believe there's a motion to table on the floor.
Yes.
So you either need to vote on that motion, or that motion needs to be withdrawn first.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll follow whatever, okay. We have a motion to table the introductory things for bill number 38-2025. It's been rescinded by the introduction and the secondary motions of Phil and Commissioner Fox. Mr. Secretary.
The motion is not to table, the motion is to.
No, that was to table it. No,
So my notes, what I heard, there was a motion by Mr. Ginder, seconded by Ms. Fox to, first, originally.
okay, yes.
Mr. Ginder and Ms. Fox withdrew that motion. I then heard that there was a motion to table by Mr. Ginder.
You just withdraw your motion without a vote, is that what happened?
Correct. Mr. Ginder withdrew it before the vote, and then he made a motion to table. Ms. Fox seconded the motion to table. That motion is on the
Needs
floor.
to be done right now.
So
That's
it
what I
either needs
have.
to be voted on or withdrawn.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, can you pull the board
Sure. Commissioner Ginder,
to table?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Snyder,
No.
Commissioner Attia's a yes, and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Okay, that's 5-1 passes to table. Sorry, not passes.
Okay, and again, I don't see where, I know what you're saying about, you know, having to wait and everything. However, it's gonna be just as long unless it were to be done tonight. And right now, we have 5 people saying we want to table it, and you were the person. No,
I
we
accept
shouldn't.
it.
Okay,
I'm fine.
and that's all I'm saying.
I accept it. That's right.
My only question is, what do I need to do with Frank to move this forward? Do I need to meet with him in the field and go over, maybe mark out the curb line and some of the board can come see it? Or how do we proceed to move out the stormwater?
My question to Frank that I need answered is why the curb can't be brought down Reliance Street until it can't go any further because of rock issues.
Okay. So then Frank will probably come to me and ask me to come in and maybe draw
I can't
something
speak
up
for
on
Frank,
paper.
I'm just interested because when I look at pictures of it, and I'm very familiar, I drive that road every day, why that curb can't be taken down as far as it can possibly go at this point. And if they're gonna say rock, then I want some proof that it was tested for rock. I'm not telling you to come in and do $100,000 bore samples. I think what Commissioner Warren said with a pound stick is fine, or, you know, a couple shovels full out of there. Because the curb only has to go down, what, 2 feet? When they dig for curb, is it 2 feet?
You're usually putting,
Or
if
the
you're
30
doing
inch?
18-inch curve, if that's what the
18-inch curve.
specification is, yeah.
But you're removing 4 feet to get to the 18 inches,
Well, that's true, yes.
right? And you gotta build a wall.
In the overburden.
No, you wouldn't need a wall there, the land's flat open, it's grass.
Or you're talking about grass, I understand.
Yeah, he only wants to go up as far as where you would hit this rock.
Curb in as far as we can
We
down,
could blend it and it, right.
and then blend it into the rock or whatever's down there.
Yeah, I understood it.
So that we get as much curb in there as possible, that we can control some of the overgrowth and stuff, and that when people walk up that street, because there's a lot of pedestrian traffic on that street. It's not downtown Allentown, but there's a lot of people walking down that street mornings and afternoons for exercising and get down to the rail trail and stuff. So as we could clean as much of that up as possible now, it makes it wonderful in the future. Everybody's happy.
So the thought is, for the person who owns this ground, we're saying that if they come back and they extended the curb only down along Reliance Street to a point where Mark and Frank can agree, they can adjust their waiver, that they would increase that, and that would be something we would consider to be maybe.
Deferral. Deferral.
Deferral, okay? And we would work together to figure that out, and that solves your question. Does that help you know what direction you gotta go?
That's fine, and I think that's something that we can solve.
That's the only question I have.
And I do appreciate the sidewalk option that you've presented. I do, I think that's great. I mean, and it's kind of unfortunate that if you were getting money from this apartment complex, I would say it's going in right now. But if it's a give and take, so I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Then do we have to, I guess, we would have to amend our deferral and just send that back into leave for processing when we know exactly what the lineal footage would be. And then get back maybe on the next commissioners meeting?
Why don't we speak to Frank, and let's talk about process
Okay.
for that.
They can pay again.
No.
No, that's what we,
That's what I'm asking.
that's what we tried not to do.
I understand.
I'm
So
not
that-
making people pay extra if they don't have to.
I understand. But we need to talk about the process for how we can do it and also do it right.
Okay.
so.
Well, I'll go on record saying that I don't feel they should have to pay again, so however you figure this out.
I'm not
because-
talking about payment, I'm talking about the process if after Mark speaks to Frank, they have to amend the request, whether they have to go back to planning commission again, because of the ordinance that requires planning commission.
Changing the footage on the curb.
That's what I think is okay, I'm trying to do this. I want to talk to Frank and Lee and understand what the actual change is, and then we'll find the best way to do it to get it back in front of you.
Yeah, because I don't wish to run their costs up either.
I
but
understand.
That's not the point.
So let's talk, Frank.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll figure out the best way to do it.
Are we all okay up here? Ken, Phil, we're okay now? I know where you want to be, but again,
I don't want to,
No, no.
they'll figure it out, but
Okay.
if they end up having to pay more engineering going back to the planning commission, I would like a phone call to me as a commissioner to say, that's what's happening, or Jack, give me an update if that's gonna happen, because I think that would be a crime if that happened.
Yeah, I don't think more fee to get another.
I'm not talking about another
A lot
fee.
more
What
requirements than the crazy
what I
stuff.
was gonna say is, I think it's fair, since you all want Frank's opinion on this, and he has an opinion on this. I've heard him talk about it at planning to some extent, is to let him speak to Mark and figure out how we move it forward. And I don't want to speak for him here, but Mr. Ginder, he may want to come back and tell you there's an engineering reason not to do it.
I understand.
And that's why I don't want to tonight speak for Frank and say that it should be amended. I think the two engineers should have a chance to talk about it, and then we'll figure out the best process to get it back in front of you. I was not talking about another fee. I was talking about the right process to get it back in front of you so your questions can get answered.
I'm fine with that.
okay. All right. Bill number 39-2025, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal for the replacement and installation of a metal roofing system for the Chestnut Street Barn for the Recreation Department in accordance with Section 3.20 in the Home Rule Charter, which requires authorization of acquisitions in excess of $25,000 by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Warren.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Box. Sorry.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Jack, are we getting the best price for this roof that you exhausted
Yeah.
all options?
Yeah, we solicited 3 proposals. The one that we have here now is a CoStarz one. The second one was $20,000 more. The third one, they were interested in doing the painting and the roof. When we asked them, we just wanted the price for the roof, they said, well, Koosman does our installation anyway. So those were the 3 quotes. I don't think you're gonna do any better for a metal roof.
Any further comments up here? Questions? Comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes,
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes,
Commissioner T is a yes, President Sloniker.
Aye.
Bill passes 6-0.
Bill number 40-2025, a first hearing. There'll be no action on this bill. An ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, adopting the comprehensive parks, recreation, and open space plan for the Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Public hearing and voting on resolutions. Resolution number 3395, a resolution appointing Sean Roth to serve as an alternate member on the Whitehall Township Zoning Hearing Board. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Ginder.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions from the board? Comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner T is a yes, Commissioner Snyder,
yes,
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Resolution passes 5-0.
Resolution 3396, a resolution requesting the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, Commonwealth Finance Authority, Northampton/Lehigh local share assessment grant for the purchase of a skid loader for the Public Works Department. Do I have a motion?
I'll move Atia.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Got it.
Any comments or questions? From the board? Nothing? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Atia is a yes. Commissioner Ginder?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
President Sloniker?
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0.
Resolution number 3397, a resolution requesting a Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Commonwealth Finance Authority, Northampton/Lehigh Local Share Assessment or Assessment Grant for lighting improvements at township parks. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Warren.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Fox.
Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder?
Yes.
Commissioner Atia is a yes. And President Sloniker?
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes 6-0.
Resolution 3398, a resolution transferring funds within the general fund to provide for appropriations to meet unanticipated current fiscal year expenses constituting budget transfer 2025-01. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
We hit the button at the same time, so I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Atia will second it.
Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Atia is a yes. Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
President Sloniker?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Isn't this part of what we just did? Do we go through this then or not?
Well, I did ask Mr. Bradbury to stay because not sure. I think you're gonna ask for this to be tabled, if, yeah.
Okay, it's tabled.
Well,
You would need a,
someone, since it made it to tonight's agenda, someone should make a motion, second, vote.
Okay. Do I have a motion for tabling Resolution 3399?
I'll make the motion to table. Ginder.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Atia.
Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Ginder?
Yes.
Commissioner Atia is a yes. Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
President Sloniker?
Aye.
Okay, that's tabled 6-0.
Resolution number 3400 has been tabled. Resolution number 3401, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the completion of certain surveying and engineering work on Water Street. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second? Any comments or questions from the board?
So, is any, from Keystone Engineering, or Jack, one of the two, the number that was put in here was 41,500, is that correct? Okay. Does this include all of this studying for Benchmark and Keystone? My understanding, what they're gonna do down on Water Street is they're gonna survey Water Street, correct? They're gonna determine what properties are encroaching, if any, and which ones are not. And after the survey is done by Keystone, we'll have a meets and bounds of where that street really is. Check mark. Next thing that's gonna happen is that Benchmark is going to give evaluations of what can or cannot be done, but there's not a traffic study officially being done because the street is closed, so you don't have your technically traffic study, but there were previous studies that were done that we could rely on to determine the amount of traffic that was there without actually having a study, because it's there.
If I may, in 2019, they did a speed analysis and a traffic count.
Right.
And earlier this year, in February 2025, they did the same. So we have all the statistics that are needed on the traffic count and the speeds that went through there, and the thresholds of speeds. There's formulas involved. So I've read on social media where, how can you do a traffic study because the road's closed? That's unnecessary. This is the engineering aspect of it. They have the numbers they need, and they're compiled, and they're official. That's official data that they can drive this future surveying on, so they can find out everything that they need to know. in order to move
Are the reports from the study that was done in a narrative form that can be referred to, or is it a situation where somebody just stood down there and just did a car count? What is that going to be?
No, they're very clear. There's a calibrated box that the Whitehall Police Department put down there that reads the traffic count, reads the speeds, the maximum speed, the minimum speeds, and it averages everything out, the software program averages it all out. So everything's compiled, and both studies were done not on the same week, but the same time span. So to compare apples to oranges, you have two studies that were done in a 6-day span that mirror each other.
Okay.
So that's what they use to judge.
So the reason I'm asking this, we're gonna spend $49K to do this.
41.
Whatever numbers. I don't want anybody to come back and say it wasn't a complete study, that when we do our engineering to try to solve the problem, okay, that they say your data was not valid. Can we all agree that based on the studies that were done by the police department and the traffic engineer and the gathering of the information, that that's going to be sufficient to move forward, that we're not going to have to do a complex traffic study, reopen it, gather the data, and then come back? That was never my plan.
I would like to, when we budgeted for the speed limit signs, the budget at 3, last year's budget, we were told that it collects counts and it collects speed. Now, it collects counts and it collects speed. When it was being installed on Water Street, and you announced in May that it had significant effects, I had asked that we keep track of what that speed is. Now, granted, it's not super accurate, but it's qualitative. And we heard that we had great effects on the speed sign that was down there. And I think that's an important factor in considering how did that one speed sign affect everybody's habits driving that road. I asked for at the last general meeting that we get a copy of those counts like we did the study before. That hasn't come forth. I would expect that those counts that are more current and more relative to what's down there are also incorporated into the study.
So because I'm the one that asked for this to be done, I would like to make sure that Keystone understands that they're gonna present to us a complete report with all of the data that is necessary to come back with suggestions of what we got to do. His number of 41,005 was supposed to take all of that stuff into consideration, because in the workshop, Frank said, and other times previously, we have sufficient amount of data. There is no need to come back and do a traffic study, correct? So I don't want to hear I don't want to hear the engineering guys come back and say, oh, we need a traffic study now. No, 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 that was discussed.
You are doing a partial traffic study, because you're looking at, and part of that 41.5 is Peter Terry's work and Benchmark's work to analyze possible traffic solutions.
Okay, then you're 100% correct. I want to clarify, this is more so for the public, so they understand what we're doing. Yes, we're getting a traffic study, but we're not doing a traffic count with the street being closed or reopening the street to recollect data. There's no need for that.
We did that already. We compiled those
I know,
numbers.
but for the record, because when we asked, I didn't see the RFP for the 41,009. I didn't see everything that he's going to be doing other than what Frank explained to us through the process of our last two meetings. So I just want to make sure we're getting exactly what we're talking about.
I want to ensure that the traffic speed and counts recorded from May until the road closure are also included. Are we able to provide that data?
Let me ask
Are we able to
something.
provide the data?
That quantitative data, what, now, for
Because if
instance-
driving habits have changed and people are driving slower and they're braking when they see that sign, they're continuing on, that's important information. We can use the worst case scenario and say, yep, we can't do anything down there, it's a million miles an hour. No, I wanna, and even when we were when LTAP came in, they suggested providing, look at what traffic calming can be done and do maybe an incremental approach and analyze how people's habits change for the good or for the worse. But, so we did install a speed sign in May that flashes, and we were told that it has great effects.
Time out a second.
Can you wait? Because I know there's, and that's swell, but when one of the commissioners has a question for you, I think it's imperative that you stay and answer the question. That's all. Because this is the way it's always been, and there's really been no change in this, go ahead, I'm sorry, we're interrupting.
So LTAP is one issue, that's separate, okay? But from what we've been told, and either the mayor's told me separately or we heard it here, we do know there's some people who've been clocked doing 70, there's been people clocked, hear me out, 50. So we know that when these things were taken care of, it was way over the top no matter what happened. So we're not walking in this thing with the assumption that, oh, we now put up this traffic speed thing and now they're on 40, everything's okay. I'm looking at this and saying, we have a bad situation, I'm not looking for it to go either way. I'm looking for a fair study and a fair boundary arrangement so we know where we're at and go from there. That's all I'm asking.
And I'm asking, do we have the data from May till now? Was that recorded?
like I said, the boxes aren't calibrated.
Right.
So I don't know if the data's certifiable. Yes, you can look at the broad numbers, and yes, if we can extract that off those units, which I'm told we can, we'll get you the data.
Yeah.
But,
I just think it's a piece of information.
right, but it doesn't hold any legal weight, per se.
No.
I don't think the engineer is gonna use those statistics, because we have official statistics from the police department from a calibrated unit.
Before we put some kind of measure for traffic calming. We should have did another count for another week before we officially closed the road to see how that sign may or may not impact it, people's driving habits. So at least I want the qualitative data to be considered. In the middle of, on the onset of Darktown, there's a solar panel sign that records your speed and it
There's
flashes.
two, there's one northbound and
Yeah,
southbound.
and so in May, the mayor said they have tremendous effect. They've been very positive in slowing people down. So what I'm saying is I want to know what kind of effect was that? And that should be also considered as one point of a traffic calming
Well,
measure that was
I've
implemented.
been told by people in the neighborhood that, yes, they believed that it slowed people down. But the misbehaving is still taking place. There are still people speeding. Now, there are still people passing. There are still,
No, there's, not while we're having discussion.
So I'm just going by the information that I'm given, and yes, I believe it did slow some people down, but I don't think it's the wherewithal, the end fix for the situation.
Then we should have had another study done before we officially closed it. And it's, hindsight's 20/20, that's no fault to you, but I'm saying we did
Well-
something down there, conditions changed, and we don't know how much that affected. I'd like to see that qualitative data be looked at to say.
Well, and going back, there's a number of reasons. I mean, we could have kicked the can down the road again, and this would have took more time. My fears were, we've been notified that, we've been put on notice that there's a lawsuit pending against the township. The first thing, and my number one responsibility is to defend all the taxpayers of this township. The second one was, when we were at that meeting this summer, Mr. Warren, we learned that they don't pick up the school children on Water Street.
No, we learned that in the public meeting when the family was here, in fact, when they first came here.
Right, but we officially heard it from the superintendent and his people over at the school district, did we
Correct.
not?
Well, yeah, the family said that, we questioned them at the meeting.
Right.
And they told us why they couldn't send a van down there.
Right. So now we have safe passage for these children, so they have a safe place to get on a school bus. And, because of what I've witnessed down there, I mean, it's chaotic sometimes. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but I know if I lived on that street, I would be very, very troubled at what I see people do.
Can we agree that traffic information should be looked at as part of this analysis?
Sure.
Huh? You don't think so?
Yeah, and I will furnish.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
I'm fine looking at
we
it,
can
but-
caveat as qualitative, but I mean, if it's,
But you get to the point, if you think things got better since the road's closed and everything, that's fine, but I still think you should take the worst case information you have and design from the worst case information. And go forward from there. So if what we have now is the worst case because things have gotten a little better since the road shade, that's fine, it's gotten better, but let's still take the worst case and engineer from that point. And then questions are answered. You took the worst case you had and the question, and engineered to that standard and that's it.
I want to make
You
sure.
couldn't have done any more.
I want to make sure that at least between me and Jeff and the other board members feel the same way. After this is done, I don't want to battle, we did it right or wrong. I want to stay,
Exactly.
I want everybody to agree, whatever data we got, whether it's 100% correct or what, the data we got, being told that's what we're basing things on. We're not going to go back and say, this is invalid, we should have done a brand-new study, I don't want to do any of that. Otherwise, we'll be in the quagmire for another 12 more months.
agreed. And one thing that does
Anyway,
concern me.
I want to make sure we're the same thing, Jeff.
One thing
You and I
that
are on the same
concerns
page.
me is we had people already weigh in and draw their own conclusion without doing a study.
Now, you brought that up.
Now, I don't know if,
Jeff, you brought that up to me in a call, and look you have your opinions, I have my opinions. I've changed you, and you've changed me in different situations. Our professional engineers and traffic study, their job is to approach this based on a neutral position.
I would
Not
hope
what
so.
I say, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna accuse them that they're not going to. I'm making the assumption it's neutral. So I don't want you to come back later and say, well, they were predetermined in advance, because that's not the case.
well, we've heard it a number of times.
No,
at the meetings.
Jeff, the answer is no. They are professional people,
Right.
and you cannot sit down and say it's predetermined.
I agree with Jeff.
What, that it's predetermined?
No, that
No.
they made I guess, if we had somebody independent look at it and come up with the same conclusions as them, it gives a little more weight.
They are independent. Are you telling me our solicitor's not independent when he gives us answers on certain things? They're there to represent the township. They're there to give us the clear answers. I do not want to sit here after all this is done and do this with you, because that's what's going to happen.
And that's one reason why I asked for LTAP, somebody that was.
LTAP doesn't come in at this point.
They provide recommendations. They come and look at it
There's
and
a
say.
motion on the floor.
Right. So, I would prefer somebody independent, but, I mean, and that way it removes any doubt. I mean, it's not the first time that folks have looked at it.
If we're doubting our engineers, why are we even using our engineers then? If we can't believe what our engineers and traffic consultants are telling us, why are we even asking them to do it?
Another thing I went, looked
You
at.
have to have faith in the people you're asking to do the work, and they are professionals.
Yeah, another thing I want included in the study is a look at the lighting down there too. It's not just, Is there adequate lighting? Does that help the situation? Does it hurt? It's simple. I mean, that's part of traffic calming.
That is not part of the study. Traffic calming it is, but that's not what these guys are doing. Let them do their job, Jeff, and give them credibility from the beginning, please.
This is on the agenda 3 more times. Can we
Yeah, I know.
move forward?
Well, I don't want to debate,
I'm not
Randy,
gonna
I don't want to
change-
debate it again all
No,
over again.
I
Because I
know.
got the freaking
I-
phone call
I
that
get- I
said,
get it.
we need an independent guy, and we don't.
I get it.
I requested an independent
I
review
know
of
you
it.
did.
And you said, not your guy. And I'll tell you what, that wasn't my guy. I never met the guy. In the one meeting, you said, we
Guys,
don't
with-
want to use Jeff's guy.
With all due respect, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody here wants to listen to the back and
I
forth.
agree.
Let's move on.
We'll talk to it afterward.
Are we all done up here on the board?
Sure.
Any comments or questions from the floor?
One more thing, timing. When can we expect this? This is not perpetuity.
Come up and give your name and address.
Can we set a timetable of when we might expect this or understand? Is there, as they said, what kind of timetable? Because I know how other projects have taken years.
I did speak to Frank briefly on this before he went out of town, and now is the best time to do these surveys. The leaves are off the trees, they can get the data, and I do know it is a priority in our office.
And Frank said with the roads closed, they would be able to go down and do their work
Right.
a lot faster than having to dance between cars.
Okay. Your input, please.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Day, 376 Laurel Drive in Whitehall. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to first say I'm sorry for what happened on Water Street. I can't imagine what you faced and the unfathomableness of losing Ed and everything else. I'm here as just a devil's advocate of talking about the temporary closure of Water Street. I understand the reasons behind it, obviously. But I think it's more important to look at what this means for the rest of the community, especially Water Street as a public road that's maintained with taxpayer money. Right now, the only tenants who live on Water Street and those who enter from the side that doesn't have the rail can access at a reasonable place and a fair place. And that raises some other fair questions. So if the road is closed to the public, as it is right now, minus the side that's not on the Fullerton side, will these residents be covering the cost of the maintenance, repairs, and plowing while the closure is in place? Obviously plowing not right now, but who knows how long it's gonna be closed for. And are all taxpayers still on the hook for covering these costs even though we can't access the road? Fairness aside, it just doesn't seem fair for public funds to go toward the road that the public can't travel on and go beyond Water Street. This also sets a precedent. If any time someone feels unsafe or inconvenienced, they can argue the street they live on should be restricted or closed. Where does that stop? With respect, I say that. I have 2 young children. I live on, our road can be fairly busy. We have a 25 mile per hour speed limit set. People go 40, 50 miles down our street. So it's just, I understand, but I think all things considered. Before extending or continuing this closure, I'd like to ask the board, why did you choose the Fullerton side of Water Street?
I'm sorry.
Why did we choose the Fullerton, where the rail is? Why did we choose that side specifically?
I can answer
That's North County, that's not, that's.
From where I travel.
No, and I understand
I can
where
answer
you're
that
coming
question.
from, but-
So the children would have a safe passage to a bus stop. That is the bus stop area now, at Eberhart and Water, at the railroad gate. The other question, or the other thing that you indicated was that the general public doesn't have access to Water Street. That's not a truthful statement. You can freely drive down Water Street and go to the small parking lot to continue to get on the trail. The only thing you can't do is continue down Water Street to Eberhart. So. the
That is
pub-
correct. And
It's still a public road.
convenience aside, it's not, I now have to drive out of my way
You do.
to get to where I would like to access the trailhead. That is correct. Luckily enough, we have other places to access it. That is correct too. But I don't know. There's a lot of other things that come up with it, and I just don't understand why speed humps or better signage or lower speed or
Well,
other
And
considerations
that's
were
what we're,
made.
and that's what we're doing, ma'am. That's why,
Okay, and that's why, that's why I'm up here. I didn't realize how this worked. This is my first time. This is my first meeting, and I didn't know how it worked. So I apologize for
What-
being, I
what
don't
I-
apologize,
what
actually.
I've been
I'm very
told by
happy
our-
I'm here, and I'm very happy I'm raising my voice and advocating. And we had some answers for people that do access the trailhead from that point. And we just, it's a beautiful trail. I love it. I feel safe on it. I stopped running for a long time, realized the access point was there because of my neighbor, and now I feel safe running again. I've been running for the last 3 years again, and I absolutely love it. Not that I don't have other places to run that I feel safe on, but I just don't understand why we can't have maybe a camera or, we have this other, $41,000 is a lot of money. So I just don't understand how that money can't be used for something to take a picture of license plate and send them a ticket or something.
That's-
And I understand, and I hear and I see everything that's written on Whitehall Whiners and all that, and I try and keep my head low because I'm not a very confrontational person. And as I stood here and said in the very beginning, before I even started speaking, I am very sorry for what happened to you.
I just want to
So-
interrupt for a second, and I just want to say that when somebody's up here and they have the right to state their opinion, and they have the right to come up here for their first time, that they should not hear any comments from anybody behind them or up here to interrupt them. It's inappropriate. Please carry on.
That's really all I have to say. I just don't understand. I understand the children. I understand the bus point. I understand all of that. Is there a way that instead of having that closed 24/7, is there a way that we can open the rail after the children are picked up, or have it open at dusk and close when the kids go to get picked up for school? Or there has to be some other way to still allow us that travel down that way, because we get to the other side of town that way in other ways too. Like, I would go below 25 miles per hour just because of the narrowness of that road. And that's just me. I'm just one person. I know my neighbor here does as well. My neighbor, my friend. We have tremendous respect. So we had questions, our families had questions, other runners had questions, other town people had questions, and I'm sorry that they're not here. They have families, they have lives, they have other things to do, as you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do too. But I didn't feel like I could let another board meeting go by knowing my questions couldn't be answered or my voice couldn't be heard. That's all.
Thank you for coming.
Lorianne Fanel, 3107 North 3rd Street. I've been attending these meetings since 2016. I have seen the stuff that has gone on at these meetings. I have friends down in Darktown. My son goes down there frequently. I see how dangerous it is. And yes, I have seen video footage of some of these reckless drivers that have been going on even recently. Are you guys even aware of the taunting that's going on right now? So people want to say they're inconvenienced by a few minutes. It's absolutely ridiculous to me. A man lost his life because people failed to act a long time ago when it was brought numerous times. So people, you're slightly inconvenienced over 3 minutes or having access to a trail point? I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this because I care about human life. I was a 911 dispatcher for almost 7 years and a paramedic for almost 10. Do you know what it's like to do CPR on somebody when their family members are around you? Does anybody know what that's like? And they're grieving and screaming. That's what it's like. You don't know those cries. And people take life for granted. And we sit here and listen to some of this stuff. And my God, there was just an incident recently with one of the constituents that was here. I can't even believe what happened to him. Taunting, coming down the jug handle, speeding at someone. You guys haven't even seen what they're doing to taunt these people down there. So yes, the road should be closed, and I stand firm with Joe on that. Thank you.
Can I answer the young?
Right now, Kim, is there any?
The young lady took the time to come to the meeting. She's going on Whiners, and I'd like to explain to you so you know. I want you to know the procedures.
I'm not going on Whiners.
No, I know.
On Whiners.
I know you're not. I read it for the same reason. As a Board of Commissioners and a mayor, besides what we see, this board has taken this very, very serious. There's certain steps we can or cannot do. So for when you go back and talk to your family, the mayor has took it upon himself to close the road temporarily. He's allowed to do that. That was his decision. There'll be another motion on the agenda later on what happens in that arrangement. As a Board of Commissioners, we're asking to do it the proper way and get all of the studies to make sure everything's done. And they include some of the things that you mentioned. When that study's completed, I hope within the next 6 months, this board will sit down again and the mayor and figure out what options are available to us. And we will work our way through that process. What has been done now is what we're doing temporarily. Everybody just has to have patience and let the temperature just go down a little bit. So when you go back and talk to your friends, that's the game plan. And hopefully the professionals will come back and give us suggestions that we can institute that'll be some compromise in between. I have no idea, I'm not an engineer. Fair enough?
Yes,
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox? Yeah, Commissioner Fox.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ginder?
Yes.
Commissioner Attia is a yes, and President Sloniker.
Aye. All right, now we're going to go a little bit out of turn because the tax collector went ahead and said that she has to get somewhere. So do you have anybody on the board now? Because it was posed to me that they might have a question, so this is why, and again, when you got this job, it's one of these things where you know you're, you,
outside the box and letting the treasurer go first
no, right,
We can change things around.
we can change things around, but this is how it's been before you got the position. So you know what the position would it entailed.
Not to sit for 3
Okay,
hours to give
do you
a
have a
5-second
question for her? Go ahead.
So the treasurer's reports come out on a regular basis. Some of the reports that you put out, I don't always understand, like, for example, money collected from Berkheimer. I have no idea what that is or what that's about. So I kind of skim through your reports and just try to figure out what's going on. But you sent an email out maybe 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock today, had to do, I saw it today at that time frame, okay? About back taxes amounting to, like, what is that all about?
That is from 2011.
Turn on your microphone, please.
That is a report I've been working on since I took this office, since 2011. When I pull the Burke's reports, which is our tax billing system, that is $2.1 million that is marked for delinquency, that has not been collected on. However, I compare the Burke's reports with our paid tax bills. And because the tax office, since 2018, and we kind of washed our hands to that whole fiasco and never pursued follow up with that, I've been trying to rectify where this $2.1 million is. So I talked to Attorney Gross before this meeting, and he's agreed to have a sit-down, because here's your report. This is just the garbage bills that are showing delinquency.
So my point is that you sent the commissioners, I'm assuming we all got this thing, that if I read it and understood what you said, there's $2.1 million of real estate taxes.
Garbage bills.
I'm sorry, garbage bills that has never been paid, and you can't rectify or reconsolidate, and it's went back 15 years. Is that what you're telling me?
What I did to try to eliminate some of these bills was I emailed Portnoy and asked them to send me a list of their paid bills, and they sent it since 2017 to present. I then went back into the bills and I deleted all those payments because the tax office wasn't doing that, and we still have $2.1 million.
So I started in the beginning of the year trying to get delinquent tax garbage bills, and that number doesn't make a difference what it was, I think 450 or something to that effect. And that was all taken care of between Jack Myers and the attorney and everybody else, and all of a sudden this email pops up out of nowhere, and I'm thinking, like, can you guys shed some light on what's happening, or is that just something that or is it, tell me. Do I ignore it as a commissioner, that when someone sends me that thing, look at it and say, oh, I gotta do something with it, don't I? I can't just
So,
ignore it.
Mr. Schneider, I did speak to the treasurer this evening before the meeting. I saw the email as well. We spoke about it and agreed to set up a meeting, her and myself, and I would ask Mr. Myers be there also. You know, what she sent was the end of a very, and I know you have it up there, of a 667-page report. I'm not in a position tonight to say what's in it or explain what's in it.
Why
Mr.
not,
Snyder,
Jack?
we only found out about it a few hours ago, and all I've seen is the last page of something that's the size of a small encyclopedia.
So all I'm asking is that yourself and Mr. Myers and our treasurer sit down. I'm basing everything off of what I call valid numbers that were given to me by Jack Myers on their best accounting that they had from a given line going forward. And just figure out what the hell this is about, because it may be uncollectible, it may be whatever, but you send me as a commissioner a memo that says that there's $2.1 million of uncollectible. I can't just sit here and say, ignore the report.
No, because as you said, we brought this up earlier in the year.
I
when we went
know
over
I did.
this and that,
And nobody knew anything
and
except
again,
for
all
Jack's.
of a sudden, now you hear this number, and it's sort of like, where was this prior?
I agree 100%, because I've had extensive conversations with Jack Myers about it and our solicitor. And all I'm saying as a commissioner, I think we have an obligation to address the issue since it was given to us in a formal report from the treasurer's office. And so that's, since you did that, then somebody's got to figure out what's going on. And then you made another reference in your report that you said, and this doesn't include real estate taxes, correct? And when you made that statement, I'm thinking to myself as a real estate broker, if you did not pay your taxes, you get by year 1, year 2, year 3. But I'd say by year 4, somebody foreclosed on your property for taxes. Am I right saying that, Attorney Gross? So, it's supposed to happen, right?
Yes, the property will go first to an
foreclose.
upset sale and then to a
If we
judicial
don't, the
sale.
school district or the county, somebody will. So when you make a statement like that, it's like, okay, you just open a can of worms, you better figure out how to close it. That's all I'm saying. Does that
Well,
make
I
sense with
didn't
everybody?
do this with the intent of opening a can of worms. I'm doing this with an intent, as I have a responsibility as a tax collector in this township to ensure tax bills are properly credited and balances reduced, which apparently since 2011, they haven't been.
I don't want to pick a fight with you, Tina, but all I'm telling you is that when I read the report that you sent out, you put me in notice that there's $2.1 million of garbage tax that you can't figure out back 15 years. And you also made a notation that also applies for real estate taxes for an unknown number. Now, you can't sit down and say, well, I can't really say, and that's not really true. That's the report that you sent to us in writing. And that's what you told us.
My report is absolutely correct. I took Portnoy's numbers, I reduced the bills by what Portnoy has been collecting.
I don't want to get into an argument one way or the other. I'm going to let the solicitor, the mayor, and Jack figure that out and come back to us with a report. Pardon me?
No,
Because I gotta-
you know that you can't speak like that.
The reason it was
You have
brought,
to be first recognized and get up to the thing, okay?
the reason it was brought up is because we all got a report. Well, I got my report, email, read it, and that's what it said. That's why I'm asking the question.
And I think you as commissioners should be concerned about that, so I brought it to your attention.
I don't want to go down anything beyond that. Let the gentleman figure it out over here with you. I'm not going to go down that road.
The real estate taxes, though, are signed out by the county. It's over for the tax collector, treasurer, whatever you want to be called. That, it's finished, once you go ahead and turn in your duplicate at the end of the year, then they go to work on it. There's nothing that you do anymore with Portnoy or anything. It's their responsibility.
That's absolutely not correct.
Well, okay, then they changed a whole lot of things.
Yeah, they did.
I guess. Okay, any other questions, comments? Any?
No. You gentlemen will look into that, right? Thank you.
Joni Tedesco, 424 4th Street, Whitehall. I'm really appalled at Mr. Snyder, the way he goes at Tina all the time. She's doing the best job that's been done in a long
I'm
time.
going to stop you right there because you're attacking first one of the commissioners. And the other thing is, he asked questions. He didn't attack anybody. He did not. He asked questions. What is this? And none of us had any idea. Just because you put it in an email doesn't make us all cognizant of what's there.
Well, he's always going at her about something that
Because
she
he
has to offer.
questions, Mrs. Tedesco.
I feel sorry for Tina. I really and truly do, because she takes a lot of heat from you folks. Tina, God bless you.
She knew what job it was when she applied for it.
But I would hope I'd get support from the commissioners.
And you do.
Apparently I don't.
You do get, when you're not doing something that's conveying why. I don't want to hear from you, Mrs. Tedesco, while we're having this. I can't help it, she walked out. And again, she's been walking out this past several, that's why we had to put her up here, because she's been leaving early. She didn't come in here and say, you know what, I should go first. She did tonight, but that's not the way it works. And she knew that. This isn't anything, if you have some kind of resolution that you want to do, that's fine.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Sloniker, with all due respect to what you're saying, she goes last
No,
at
she
this
doesn't
meeting,
go
and
last.
it's always been
The
like that.
mayor goes
However,
last. The mayor goes last. Don't say
all right,
she goes
second last she goes, to give her treasury report, okay? However, when you know that she has to sit here through all this turmoil that's going on, and it's the
What-
Ken Snyder
and again,
show.
No, it isn't the Ken Snyder. He's
The heck it
asking
isn't.
valid questions. Nobody knew. No,
Nobody
I-
else
no.
has too much enough to say except Mr. Snyder, and she has to sit through all this.
When
You know what? Hold on a second. You say this to me all the time, okay? Here's a letter that she sent us in an email, and it's very clear, and if you read it, it tells you have attached to such and such and such, and balance is outstanding, and it highlighted is $2.1 million, and that's all it says. No more, no less. All I did was ask the lady a question. Now, if you have a problem between me and you, why don't we deal with it outside instead of at a meeting?
Yeah, we're not going to get into
'Cause this is
this back and
ridiculous.
forth.
I don't have a problem with you questioning her, sir. What I do have a problem with is how you're always attacking her about everything, and how you go on and on and on and on about everything else that's on the agenda for the night, and she has to sit through everything while you're taking care of talking about everything else. That's what I'm concerned about. And then Sloniker has the audacity to say about how she leaves early. Well,
she
is it any
has.
wonder that she leaves early? Because the meetings just go on and on and on. It's ridiculous.
All right. I guess we're,
Bite my lip.
we did vote on this. correct? 6-0. What- Oh, you didn't write it down. Can you poll the board, please?
What are we voting on now?
There's no.
Is it just a
there's
question?
nothing to vote.
I didn't think
Oh,
so.
no, all right, no, this was so, we went ahead to accommodate her, so a question could be asked, which was very valid, and you go ahead and complain that we're not doing it. And again, I'm sorry.
And I would chime in, if there's a legitimate reason that we should,
Right,
she needs
just
to
ask.
come in and come out, we should just chime in the beginning of the meeting, and we'll try to accommodate. I mean, it's nothing that, we're making a person stay here because we want to, but I can respect that she's a small part of the meeting, sometimes she doesn't have a lot of things to say.
And I disagree
With all due
Commissioner
respect, there's-
Warren,
there's-
because I
yeah.
used to sit through the entire meeting when I was treasurer, and sometimes they would last to 12:30 in the morning. There was no like, oh geez, I should be special. No, it's what you do. You knew when you took the job what the agenda was like. Yes, yes,
With
yes,
all
yes.
due respect, there's officers that sit here, there's other administrators that sit here, there's fire chiefs that sit here that don't have anything to say, but they are here. So, again, if there is something that's special or a reason, it's all about communication. You just communicate it, and I'm sure we would be understanding of it. But to sit here and make it seem like nobody else's time matters, I'm kind of insulted by it. So, that's all I have to say about it. Let's move forward.
From the prior page.
We did, we voted on it.
Okay.
We're
Okay,
next.
motions. A motion directing the mayor of Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, to formally request a traffic study regarding the temporary closure of Water Street. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second. There's no date on it. I want to make sure I got the right one.
Took this out.
Any
This was
comments or
taken out from last
questions
week.
from the board?
Board of Commissioners approved it. Remember they said.
Right.
take that
This
out.
is the motion to have
Okay, this is the one we're on.
Lehigh Valley Planning Commission intercede with the state
Right.
to get some input from the state on what they might think might be feasible down there. I know LTAP doesn't provide a final design, they provide recommendations, but I think they have folks that have done traffic calming projects in all 67 counties of the state. I think they've seen a lot of different scenarios, and I think their input would be helpful in a situation that's as complex as Water Street. That's why I asked for this. I asked for this back in February, and we're formalizing it here now in September.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Shouldn't this be done after the traffic engineer and the township engineer are done with what they're doing down there?
I think we have to go in parallel paths, where Frank does the survey, and then maybe the survey is part of a piece of input, but I don't wanna wait. Let's say we don't get this study done for 9 months. I don't wanna wait 9 months to initiate.
But how can they do their study and bring in PennDOT and stuff when you don't have the road widths marked down there and the property lines marked and everything else? I'm just questioning this. It seems
Well,
like Frank and.
Frank
the
said it
traffic
shouldn't take very long to do
engineer
the survey work, that's,
Should be doing their thing first, and then once that report comes out, move forward with something like this, because this can't be done until Frank's done.
after Frank is done, after whoever does the survey, I don't know if you do it in-house, then that should be provided to both Benchmark and part of the LTAP. And the LTAP is a qualitative analysis of what can or can't be done based on what they've done in other parts of the state, existing scenarios, and the traffic calming manual that has been approved by the state as a guide for how you should approach traffic calming. And I think at that point, the two parties should have it, and then we should get a qualitative report from LTAP, and then that should be part of another piece of information that Mr. Terry looks at, or whoever Benchmark.
I partially agree with what you're saying, but I believe that it's imperative that the first thing that has to happen is Frank, our engineer, do what he has to do to define the area down there, the street, the boundaries, the property lines, and then Peter Terry has to use some of that information and tell Frank what Terry also needs, and have Terry start putting his report together, because maybe it ends right there. But if we feel this should be done, then at that point, kick this in, because I don't believe you can get LTAP in here and PennDOT until Frank is done and Peter Terry's done with what they're supposed to do.
I don't think so. I think it's the middle of the middle portion of it. They're provided the plans of the road, and then they come down and look at it. They've already been down there. They were down there in February. An ambulance went by while they were down there. And so they were down there taking photographs.
I just don't want to get things out of line down there, and then we're not getting true reports, and one thing adds to the other, and as in government goes, things get confused, and away we go again.
Not everybody in government's bad, and not everybody in
I'm
government's incompetent.
not saying everybody in government's bad, I'm just saying how things normally end up.
So I would ask that this be done in parallel, and that if we should ask them, do you need a plan for the survey plan of the road? If they do, well, then we'll wait till first step for Keystone to provide the survey. At the same time, he provides it to Benchmark. What happens when one says you can't do anything down there, and now LTAP says, well, we've done this at other places in the Commonwealth?
So I went on the website.
Everyone's locked in here for the rest of the night.
I went on the website and looked up LTAP, and LTAP will not do any designs.
Correct.
Okay, they will not do any designs. It's the responsibility of the municipality to provide them information. There are 50 LTAP agencies in the United States, one for each state. The way you contact them, according to their website, is you put in a request and you get assigned a person. They will come out, they will look at it only after all of the work is completed. And then they will give you advice, but the work has to be completed first. So I think exactly what Phil said, let these people do what they gotta do, and within less than 30 days, they will give you a case number, and they'll assign a person, and they'll review all the documentation, and they'll work their way through the process. And that's how it says according to the website. If you look up LTAP and how it works, that's what it says. And I think we should basically go as planned
I think-
and come back and do it later.
I think they provide input on, well, they came out there and looked at it already. It's not like they need a final, PennDOT will do a final, if you want PennDOT to do a final approval of the design that may come out of this.
PennDOT's not part of it.
No, but I mean, they're local technical assistants. They're providing assistance. They're not providing design.
There is
so they
no
look at it.
local person that's assigned in our
Correct.
area.
It's-
There is
LTAP
not.
LTAP by definition is, they provide assistance to local municipalities.
That's correct, but
LTAP.
there's no person on staff.
No, but they will assign, and the person that was at the meeting, I believe, was one of the traffic calming specialists who helped write the traffic calming manual for the state, who has traffic calming in all 67 counties. So,
Did you request LTAP to come down?
Yeah, they were here.
Jeffrey,
We sat down with them.
this does not have in there about LTAP or anything.
Well, that's what
This
was-
is just requesting that a traffic study be done, and that's what, I'm making the assumption that
No, I
it's
think
gonna
it's
be done
different.
by the people that were mentioned prior.
we already voted on that, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, so
Is this LTAP,
No,
the
this is
LTAP
not a-
motion?
It doesn't say
Or was that
LTAP.
removed from the agenda?
It was, this is the motion that I prepared at your request.
Okay.
And then removed the one portion of it at your request
Right.
last week. If certainly if it doesn't say exactly what you want, it's your motion, or, I understood you were gonna make it. If you wanna add or subtract from it, I think you could, if you wanna mention LTAP.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I sent to you, I don't even remember when I sent it. Yeah, so it was authorizing the mayor to request LTAP do a review of the project site and provide recommendations based on the state's traffic calming manual. And then, so the recommendations was, oh, you should look at this, you should look at that. The next step is designing it. Just because you saw it on the internet, I think they were already down there, they reviewed it, and they said, yes, we can come in. And in that meeting, they did recommend that you should probably look at temporary speed humps.
Jeff, look what you're asking for. Just think this through. Just think this,
Should we
just think it through.
resign that we're not gonna do anything to this
No,
road?
no. Just think of what you're putting the Board of Commissioners requiring us to do in the mayor. We go and get the study from our engineers, and it's all done, it's fine, and we're accepting it, and it looks good. You pass this resolution, you're saying, nope, you gotta go to PennDOT now. Because that's what, it says, making use of PennDOT and township resources. So you're saying that I'm gonna have to run this by PennDOT to get their approval. That's exactly what you're saying to ensure. So when something goes.
So
it doesn't
if
say
I may,
that-
again, I attempted, and I'll take the blame on this. This is a motion, it's not a resolution.
Right.
Mr. Warren, if you're not happy with the words I put here, that's, you are certainly able to change them. It's your motion, it's not a resolution. So if I got it wrong when I tried to draft it for you, and Mr. Snyder, that would be me, not,
No, it's
so
okay.
I wouldn't say that he put that there. It sounds like I got it wrong when I wrote it. I'd encourage you just to rephrase it the way you want it.
Yeah, and
so that things can move
You
forward.
know why I'm saying what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
I want us to get to a solution, and I heard a lot in the last 8 months of we can't do anything, or we shouldn't do anything, and I want to make sure that we have the experts and a different perspectives looked at. And if they come up with the same conclusion, then we came up with the right
And if
conclusion.
it's a different conclusion?
Then maybe one person, two people looking at it might say yes, and two people looking at it might say no. I think the goal is to make us, there's a lot of passion about it in both ways. I wish we would have, yeah.
Is there a motion on the floor? Is there a second? Okay.
And I don't want to make this, it's not your view or my view. I asked this for February. If we should have done that, if we would have done that now, we would be a lot further along, and we could have initiated this other survey. Yes. Okay, what I have right here. It was a motion to direct the mayor to make a formal request to Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, LVPC, to initiate a traffic calming study of Water Street from Lehigh Street to Eberhart Road using the resources of PennDOT's Local Technical Assistance Program, LTAP, consistent with PennDOT's traffic calming handbook, using an engineer with extensive experience designing traffic calming measures throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
So you and I are on the same page. They don't do a traffic calming study.
They make recommendations.
That's not a study in the world of government, okay? And PennDOT's usually not involved in the process. They're recommending review of the study. They don't do traffic calming.
We can change study to review. If you have a motion, we can vote it. I'm not withdrawing it if we want to, if votes up or votes down. I think if instead of, somebody should have contacted LTAP if you had questions about their capabilities. And, because I did.
Wait a second.
You said you set it on the
I
internet.
went online and looked how you
Yeah.
contacted them. They told you, go look it up. I did.
Yeah.
There's about 5 pages of how to go through the process, and I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't say contact your local Lehigh Valley Planning Commission.
Well, that's how they initiate it. It's a free service. There's no charge to the municipality, but it's requested by a municipality, whether it's through a board or through the mayor, through LVPC, and LVPC contacts PennDOT headquarters and makes a request for an LTAP assistance for a project. And then the state reviews it and grants it, or it doesn't. I don't know how other counties do it, but.
Any other comments or questions here? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
No.
Commissioner Snyder,
No.
Commissioner Tias, a no, and President Sloniker.
Aye.
That's 3-3.
A motion in support of the temporary closure of Water Street for the purpose of public safety. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Ginder.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Hope
Comments or questions from the floor?
I just think this should have came to us as a formal request earlier in the year. I respect the mayor's decision to close it. I do support his decision to close it to some extent, but I thought this should have came before the fact, not after the fact.
Well, some extent doesn't, that's not a positive yes
Well,
or no.
I don't think you
You
should
either
have,
support it or you don't support it. It's as simple as that.
the timing of it, I think we should have followed what the folks at that meeting said and try some traffic calming measures. I think we should have evaluated the data when you put up the speed sign in May that said had a great success.
Listen, we could go back and forth all day, but what I will say
Yeah.
is, I was told that if we introduce a traffic calming measure and someone gets hurt because of that introduction, that is on the people of the township.
And that's why you designed it towards a traffic.
I'm not a traffic engineer. That's why we're at this step,
I didn't say I would design it. We would get experts involved.
and that's what we're doing.
We're 8 months down the road. I think if it was an emergency closure, it should have been done in January, February.
It took this
Okay.
long to get it
I
closed.
understood. I'm not, this is.
Well, no, you don't understand, because if you understood, that's why it took till September to get it closed. We had to send a letter to PennDOT informing them of the closure. And Myself, Peter Terry, Mr. Gross, and Mr. Clark worked on this diligently all summer. Finally, when we compiled everything, it was sent off to the Public Works Department, who ordered the signage, installed the gate, installed whatever was necessary in order for this action to take place. And then we put the public on notice that it was going to be closed on X date. So this got done as soon as it could possibly be done. And it wasn't that anyone sat back and just took a break and waited since February to do this. We immediately, when I said that I was going to try to temporarily close the road, we started the action. And that's the truth. And in the meantime, I put the speed control signs down, or the speed indicators down there to help the situation and bridge it till we got the road closed. And they're still down there. We're going to remove them soon and deploy them other places.
When we paid for those, when that was installed, it was said it was gonna be permanent down there, so before we move it, I think we leave it there.
They're mobile. And you didn't appropriate the money. The police department was gracious enough to take the money out of their budget and appropriate those speed
When I
control
read the
signs.
article, it said it came from, it was budgeted last year, so.
No,
if
it
you-
was
if
not
you-
budgeted.
all right, that's fine.
And I called it the mayor's initiative.
That's fine.
And it was in one of our newsletters, and I said that I wanted to calm traffic throughout the township, and these signs would be moved around because they're portable.
I agree with you, because we've asked for these for a number of years, and we were told why they're probably not. It took a long time to get to where we're at, so I
And I
agree with you
became
there.
mayor and I took action.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
No.
Commissioner Warren,
I'm abstaining.
What'd you say?
You abstaining.
I can abstain?
You can, but
You
you gotta give a
have to
reason.
have a reason to abstain. You just-
Because I wish this would've came for us before,
And
after
again,
the
that's,
fact.
you're voting on this, not on what it should have been, or, but I'm just saying.
Well, why are we voting on this? Is this just,
Do you know why?
it's a motion. Oh, Jesus.
It's late. This thing has been in front of us for how long? Any one of us could have picked up the phone and called the mayor. The previous administration could have taken care of
This, but you know what? You sat in the board previously. I talked to the mayor. I got all my answers. I prepared the resolution and asked him to prepare a resolution make sure that the engineering study was done. I contacted the president of the school board and said, how are you taking care of the situation with the kids during the flood?
did too.
That was taken care of, okay? You have just as much as opportunity as anybody else to sit here and say, we would have, could have, and should have. I'm
And I
tired
did.
about it.
I
I'm just
did.
fed up with it. Every time we do
Listen,
something,
you got-
you do the same thing. We're all tired of it.
all right,
Okay,
Mr.
that's
Snyder,
enough of the back and forth
okay,
there.
just,
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission in February and asked them about assistance. I petitioned the mayor on 2 occasions to have them come in and speak to us. On the second time, he did agree to it, and we had the meeting. And then in the middle of the year, after he said the speed signs were down there, I asked that the traffic counts be provided, or be preserved. When you said it was, announced that he was gonna close it, I asked that we initiate a traffic study before we get to the point of closure. And in the middle of the year, I sent an email and copied the board members and asked for a traffic study, traffic calming study. So, we shouldn't be nobody wins in this situation, Ken, but to say somebody didn't try to do something, I tried to move the ball, so thank you.
I think we're in the middle of a vote here.
Mr. Gross, what is the definition of why you can abstain or not abstain? Because it's not just one of these, I just don't want to vote on it, and again, that's what I got
Well, I
from
did
what
tell
you
you that
said.
I wish.
No, I just want to hear his thing.
This is it's a motion, so it's, I'm not aware of any specific legal requirement that Mr. Warren vote one way. I think he can abstain on a motion. That's all this is. It's a motion.
Respect the mayor.
So
I don't
if he
wanna
wants to abstain, I
Jeff,
would
just
say
vote,
he
just vote,
can.
that's it. Just,
Okay.
he abstained, thank you. Commissioner Atias, yes. Commissioner, I think I got it. Where are we at here? I lost track, to be honest with you.
Just,
I'm at Sloniker. Okay. President Sloniker.
Aye.
President Sloniker's,
Aye.
yes. I believe I have 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So, Larissa, did you get all that? All right.
Motion to approve the release of escrow from completed or withdrawn projects for Deputy Mayor Myers. Memo September 25th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Ginder.
Do I have a second? Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the floor? Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Tia is a yes, Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
and President Sloniker.
Aye.
Did I get everybody there?
Yeah.
All right, that passes 6-0.
Finish with me.
Sorry.
Okay. You did get
It's a long night here.
Okay, 6-0. Okay. Next thing we have are reports of public officials. Let's start with Commissioner Fox.
I did have a chance to go to the basket raffle, and it was trick or treat for the fire department. That was very nice to see everyone involved with the little ones. Also, this coming Saturday, there is the Korean Food Festival on Shad Avenue, where they have a bunch of baskets, raffles going on off of that also. And, yep, that's it.
Commissioner Tia?
I just, I don't want to belabor the point, but I think, you know, we get into a lot of discussion up here, but I want to thank the, young lady that came up and spoke. Again, I'm voting against what she came up here for, but I appreciate the fact that she's coming up here to speak and advocate for what she believes in her opinion. And I think we just, I'm not here to save the world by any means, but I think we just need a lot more of that. So that's all I'm gonna say. Everything else that I had to offer tonight is not really super important at this point.
Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, the Ironton Rail Trail Fall Historic Walk is Saturday, October 25th, 2025, starting at 9 a.m. at the Chestnut Street Barn located at 4041 Chestnut Street. It's a great walk. It's about 7 miles, takes anywhere from 3.5, 4 hours. It's a walk of the loop, and they cover about 23 different historic sites in Whitehall along the trail. And so I've gone on it a number of times. I'm gonna try to do it again. But it's a great walk. If it's the nice weather, there's a lot to learn about Whitehall.
Commissioner Ginger?
I have nothing to say.
Commissioner Snyder?
I think just for the record, we should acknowledge that Ally is out, and it's an accepted reason why she's out, because I think it hit 3 times, and we understand why. Just for the record, that's an accepted absence. That's all I have. And if everybody agrees, do we have to vote on that or just acknowledge it? Don't?
We acknowledge.
We acknowledge, that's all I'm saying. I have nothing else.
Okay, just for the people on the board know, but for the audience, we're going to be having budget hearings on Monday, October the 27th, Tuesday the 28th, and wrap it up on the 29th. Everybody's invited to find out where we see money's going to be allocated for this, that, or the other thing, and questions will be taken at that time and whatnot. So it's just something that most people wouldn't think there's going to be anything on at that time, but just to let everybody know.
What's the start time?
That I didn't figure out yet.
6, I think it is. Yeah,
I didn't look at that email.
6 o'clock.
I have it.
Okay, that's fine, 6 o'clock then.
I have the email.
Not a problem. 6 o'clock. Okay. I assume that's the end of everything?
It's 6.
And, okay. All right.
Yeah, Mayor.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm used to saying the trailer, but she had to leave again. So. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Halloween parade's coming up on the 23rd at 6 PM on the school district campus. Please come out. It's going to be wonderful. Trick or treat on the 31st. Go out if you want to wear, a costume. We have Veterans Day coming up, the 11th. Please come out to the ceremonies. Show the support for our veterans. I have an announcement to make. After tonight, what the heck, might as well go for it. We were contacted by Lehigh County Court. The unfortunate medical incident that Mr. Roman had here was a tragedy, and I wish him the very best. On October 9th, Judge Pavlik released the township for both summary judgments, and the cases are closed. The township has been vindicated in both cases. It's all right here. I'm not making light of it. It was a tragic, terrible situation. I can speaking for myself, we did everything in our power to help that man. It was unfortunate that it came to this. A lot of township blood, sweat, and tears and resources were used to defend this case. $55,000 in counting. Some of it's can be reimbursed, but we don't have that figure yet, but it's a very small number. And it's all the above and beyond stuff that you can't calculate. So a lot of money went into this and a lot of hard work to defend the township and the citizens of the township. It was very unfortunate. I was confident that this would be the outcome, and it is. And with that, I'll just close. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
First of all, do you want me there?
I don't, it's up to you.
Yeah.